Hello and welcome back to more NLC Div 2 action. Another day, another playoff, another step towards the finals temporal. It is me and you taking us through Ruza and Garden Gaming.
It's the lower bracket. Ruza put up a much better fight than I'd expected versus Rich Gang. I think it's fair to say took them all the way. A reverse sweep, the only thing that kept our regular season first place finishes in the running at all, as Ruza really pushed them to their limit. And of course, the team they lost to, as you mentioned 2 weeks ago on the day, Garden Gaming. Here, both teams coming up first split in NLC 2, straight into playoffs, straight down to some action. Bit of a shame we get to see them hit each other in the lower bracket. So someone will be ending their split today, but exciting stuff all the same.
Yeah, and I believe we had an interview with Ruza the other week where we were kind of like, oh, well, how are you guys looking towards the playoffs? Do you feel like you're feeling good? And they were like, yeah, we've got a lot to show still. So I'm expecting to see a lot of things. Obviously, we saw them play against Rich Gang only a few days ago, and we did get to see a few different looks. Now, obviously, there were some answers that potentially could be utilized from Garden Gaming. However, how do you feel about kind of like Rift Rust, if we may, temporal? Like the fact that Ruza have played a whole best of 5, they're ready, they're warmed up, whereas Garden Gaming, they've kind of been in the cookbook, in this kitchen, kind of just chefing it up, trying to find strategies to bring to this new playoff setup.
It's hard, right? There's the two dynamics there. Ruza will be hot and ready to go. They'll be feeling real confident after pushing Rich Gang so far, which is great. It means that the team is all online, that everyone's together, everyone's excited to a degree, and some excitement is good. Too much excitement bad. You know, look to Misfits versus SKT back in the day. They took a game, and then Misfits proceeded to absolutely run it down after convincing themselves they were masters of the universe. Garden Gaming will have had an entire set of Ruza's games to download, so it will be scouting information versus excitement and momentum.
Yeah, indeed. And right now, onto the pick and bans. We see Nico banned. I thought Nico was actually banned, period, but apparently not. We do obviously have some picks that are banned, right? No already in Soul. We're not going to get the Azir, and we're not going to get Kiana. So those three will be taken off the list. But I do think that for these two teams, that's not going to really affect them. It's not their bread and butter. It's not something they were really looking to pull out. So I'm excited for this pick and ban.
Yeah, with the Nico coming away as well, that sort of does complete that circle of mid laners that we've seen picked so frequently this year. Through winter and spring. Talia takeaway, so that's 2 zone of control AP junglers. Flamey might be getting the brand banned out on R3 just to complete the set.
And one thing I'm really liking about this coming out from Ruza is when they last played, 2 of the 5 champions have already been banned. That is not a third. It's not a third. It wasn't Varus, it was Ashe. So they are picking their punches very wisely here. I'm interested to see what Garden Gaming do decide to ban, right? Because as you said, they've had their chance to look at what was happened. Previously, Namex and also the side of Evoc were getting banned out a lot by Rich Gang. Yeah. This time around, it's all on Flammy.
It is, and it's three AP junglers to try and destabilize Ruza's setup. Small to take away, no surprise. Both these teams have arc towards it. The Varus ban away from Mikkel, it's been his bread and butter this split. No longer the Xayah and Joya. Now more of that all-in, all damage. It's exciting to see because I think the Senna here is not a bad answer, but on 14.5 it's not the same. It's not quite as good as it was beforehand. Garden Gaming, you've got to know what you wanted to smolder in the blind. This is a position you put yourself in by banning 3 junglers.
Yeah, and I'm surprised. I think I'm less surprised by the fact that it's B1. Way more surprised that it's been left up. You know, we talked about it in UKEL recently, right? We've seen Pentas come out of this. It's a pick that realistically, unless you are primed and prepped for, you have to ban away. And I feel like Varus being taken off the board as well really compounds that. Kaiser Naught, a blast from the past temporal, but is it going to work against the new Blood Dragon?
It's the effervescent bot lane, like 2017 onwards. It's just like, it's Kaiser Nautilus. Like, you could just pick them. You'll be fine. Kaiser will struggle a little, go down 10 CS, and then take over the game. I suspect it's going to be the AP Kaiser. I'd like to see Ruza go for some more engaged tools here. That is the main weakness of the new Artillery Kaiser. Not the same as last split, where she sort of does a bit of everything magic damage-wise, but instead it goes long range and absolutely uses Luden's Companion to the most of its ability. Cooldown sync up really nicely. I like the way to stand away, but from Ruza, maybe before some bans can take them away, want to see some counter engage on the support. A Leona here would go so hard. Kench kind of fulfills that. You get a very slow Malphite ultimate. Somehow Karma's got all the way down to R3. That one slipped past me.
Yeah.
Hold up.
We also haven't had Volley yet. Volley is still up as well. So there's a few power picks that are still looming around that we normally see early on. Tam being picked up, I do kind of like it. I think it does give a bit of security. I am also interested to see where they're going to put this Karma, because obviously it could go mid. It could go top lane as well. Obviously support not going to be a thing because of the fact that they have Nautilus. Unless we're seeing some wacky picks in the jungle.
Nautilus jungle, yay! Oh god, please no. I like the mid move on Karma. I think it's really underrated. For you guys on live, she got a massive buff for top lane that Riot called a like semi tap for mid, where her W went up. So that's not on this patch. So you're not such like a throw Karma into the melee sort of setup as you should be in solo queue. But push and move still the name of the game. With a Kindred ban, I'm looking towards Xin Zhao as a late pick for Garden Gaming now. Vi also a thing. The 2v2 goes really nastily with Karma, so they're going to look to play towards that. I think 5 banning jungle would be an absolute statement.
Yeah, you're really saying there's one player on your team we don't want to play against,
and it's different to the one who was target banned last series. Wukong as well.
I guess it's kind of a top.
We're going so deep on champions. That's crazy.
And that's what I like about it. It's in the last series they only played 2 champions. They played Lilia and Talia. That was it.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen anything from Flammy in playoffs, right? We've obviously seen a lot in the regular split, but now they're also adding to that by banning the Viego. So we have a total of 7 junglers banned out. Xin Zhao, as you said,
I feel like Xin Zhao was way more likely to get picked than all of these junglers. That's a Karma over there to pair with it.
Who's left?
Yeah.
Not
like no junglers allowed. Oh,
also, wait, this is really weird.
Yeah, it's unusual. I think Smolder actually has a pretty decent time into Karma. You farm at the tower real well. It's gonna get flipped back around. Maokai coming in.
Okay.
Ruza holding a really nice flex on Kench Maokai between top jungle support here. I feel like the Kench must be support, but it's technically open. Top still open for Garden Gaming. If they're gonna double flex, we need to see a jungler here. Maybe not. Maybe statement from Turtle gonna go all in. It's open, so the Renekton has a few hard losing matchups.
Yeah, well, there are still some picks that could go well, though, right? There's things like Poppy could still turn
Poppy
up,
goes
right?
pretty hard. Ornn completely fine and sets up nicely for the rest of Garden Gaming. It's pretty.
But then you put in everything on MKL, right?
Yeah.
Like Mikkel would have to be carrying
out of his mind.
for the Ornn here.
It wouldn't be the first time. Garden Gaming's promotion to NLC through the RPS last time around. Very Mikkel heavy.
Trundle.
It's a less usual pick, but it still checks out. Trundle still great in the 1v1, saps AD away, so it does mean that Renekton struggles to kill him after 2 items. However, Renekton still generally offers more. A well-placed pillar is devastating in a team fight. A crocodile flashing at your AD carry, who is the sole source of damage, and a shield break through a Karma, slightly more worrying in the big unit fight.
Yeah, indeed. I would say Trundle really up there with picks that I don't like playing against. I think the early game is just crazy, and I am really interested to see actually how the junglers path in this game, because we've got Renekton, we've got Trundle, 2 picks that can really dominate if they're given leads early, and dominate just a ridiculous amount as well. Like, we're talking solo dives, we're talking tier 2 towers getting pushed. Like, I want to know, is there potential for the junglers to really play topside and just say, you know what, we'll get to bot lane later, you guys will scale?
I think we've seen over the years how Kaizen Orlis just is resilient through many things. Like, they'll go down a bit and they'll still be as useful, and then have soaked all that pressure. I think Xin Zhao should really be ping-ponging between top and mid here. And as soon as you get a flash, it's just point of contention. If you get the Renekton down, you're right, Trundle will start to end the game on his own. I think it was Hyper for Garden Gaming. Now, this is a memory test for me. All of a sudden, Hyper for Garden Gaming, who backdoored with a Trundle to win them a series last year. That was, gosh,
Are we talking
I'm
about Hyper,
sure-
like the one?
Yeah,
East Bay
yeah.
Ribbon?
Previous Garden Gaming top laner, Riven Enjoyer.
And then played
yeah.
Jason and flamed him. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
Hyper,
one.
you've not been on this team for a split and you're still catching strays. I'm very sorry. Yeah,
Nice
the
one.
one
I
and
hope you're
only.
doing well.
The one and only. So Garden Gaming used to a bit of a troll kingdom in the top lane. Interesting to see how this goes. It is very personal expression, I feel. You know, we often see Renekton lanes and it's like, oh, it's a known quantity. He fits in this box. He flash stuns people. He's a bit of a menace. But he does Renekton things. Trundle doesn't normally fit in that box. The ability to attack towers way faster, the ability to upset and blow summoners from range with a pillar, and then sap a tank to become a menace like Renekton later on. Really nice and broad. Let's see how that works out. Let's see how pushing Ruza off of 5 junglers and onto Maokai, who's still pretty good, works out here for Garden Gaming. I'm not sure game 2 is going to look like this one.
Yeah, I just feel like the game plan they came in with is so different, right? Like I've not seen loads of bans for Flammy. Like I think Flammy has played really well in the season, right? Definitely been a very core part of the team. But I feel like when I think about this team, it's like Namek's a really, really strong pick. But let's get into game. Let's see how these bans do affect this game 1. And let's see if Bruiser can do it, or maybe this is the secret sauce. Maybe this is the strategy Temporal to ban out all the junglers and they can't play the game.
I'm having a look at Rich Gang versus Ruza right now. Flammy ate 2 bans, both of them on Blue 3, both of them Viego. That was the only draft attention this player got all series.
Yeah.
To receive 5 bans off the back of it, Garden Gaming.
Strong.
I think you've seen something special. You've given away a lot of key pieces. I think if we said you had Hui Smolder on a team, in current patch, current era, that's quite a lot of pressure.
I'm just glad that they didn't give them volley as well. Like there was a world where
close.
Like they could have picked volley, and it's like, wait a minute,
Hold up.
this is a lot of good picks right now on one team.
A lot all at once. Hello out there if you're watching. This is the start of a best of 5, so we're taking our time. We're measured in our.
Yeah, we're in the podcast game. You know,
we are in the podcast game.
This is the relaxed game. This is where feeling each other out, finding the rhythm, seeing how each other play. I'll be honest, I'm expecting Garden Gaming to really hit the ground running. You know, I think the Ruse are a team that are always going to be quite strong. I think they can be quite flippy floppy, but I think the Garden Gaming, I think they looked quite good in a lot of their best of ones. But there's always the question of can they play from behind Temporal? Because I do feel like Garden Gaming were one of the biggest teams that really succumbed to early leads equaling quick losses.
I think if you're going to ban out 5 junglers and you're not going to like aggress on people and start to play the map, then why have you like damaged a flexible part of the map and given away these huge like massive chess pieces? Like your opponent's got an extra queen, but you've ripped away 3 knights. So it's like you've now got to play the mid game real good. Otherwise, what were you doing? It's a lot of pressure. Garden Gaming have put themselves in this situation, and you're right. It seems to be the plan. It's very intentional. I'm very excited to see like levels 4 through 6, maybe 4 through 8 for Xinjiao. We just get to see like what was the secret sauce? So we're just gonna blow flash top and spend all day under that tower. It's fine if we do. It's creative expression. Quite exciting.
Yeah,
Nothing
we gotta get some early plays.
Oh yeah.
And if we look at it right now, right, we see top laner.
Wow.
Gonna fight over blue buff there. I like that.
Yeah.
And
Bash is
on the top
battling on the buff. Let's see where he goes after that. 'Cause I think he's just gonna try and get down to bot lane and try and pick up Reason for this path. It's a bit unusual. I probably would have done wolves towards grubs. But let's see what he's got in mind.
Yeah, and I'm expecting. Oh, actually, I was going to say I'm expecting a pretty chilled out bot lane, but already we're starting to see Garden Gaming flex their muscles, and this is what I talked about. Temporal. I talked about the level 2. Trundle is a menace.
Such a menace that Turtle felt the need to call the meek, blows the resource bar, does not connect with Fat Shield. That is an
Does not get
absolute
200.
travesty. Turtle, just take the TP now, buddy. Just get back from the minion wave. It happens. You gotta take those L's.
He passed go, didn't collect the money. You know, that's as simple as it is. And now Fat Shield gonna push this one in. Could even potentially recall, get a little bit of a buy, and then just set themselves back up. But
Oh,
what
even
I'm
better,
looking for right now
even
is Bash
better.
has actually invaded, started on Wolves though, and Flammy now trying to contend. But look at Fat Shield, just able to roam straight into the jungle. They have so much power right now. Evok is going to make their way down as well, so maybe make it a 3 versus 2. But Flammy just forced to lose out their own jungle. In the bot lane now, Greason as well. In big trouble as Navex is trying to run away, but Greason going back in. This is a crazy decision. A KD and Rain comes in, one more auto, and Nickel just picks up a free kill.
Absolute mad lad. I think there was a little bit of miscommunication there that we could maybe go 1-for-1, which I think favors Smolder slightly. Huge shout out to Fat Shield and Bash. While Flammy did smite away the Big Wolf, that link up, that 2v2, where they had no right to be in a 2v2, your opponent's Wolves at minute 3. Like, absolute movements to put this Maokai in a difficult situation. They can now recall, and even though Garden Gaming are sort of pushed in this bottom lane, they've got Shiro walking back. Those should be defended camps. I feel like Flammy will not be able to complete. No, walks away as the bot lane calls the timing of the Nautilus respawn. Flammy now has nowhere to go. He's not confident. He's just going to cycle through these respawning camps. Bash has bought himself time. He's now going to try and go and make an influence. The summon is blown in bot lane. Wouldn't mind seeing him go down there.
Is this what I think it is, Temporal? Is this a potential freeze in the top side? Are we going to get a really horrible laning phase for Renekton?
Potentially. He's like, you know, Turtle didn't end up blowing that teleport because of the roam from Fat Shield and has managed to heal up pretty significantly. I feel like that early lead Fat Shield generated by just wailing away. Not the most utilized. It is held. So that is 2 caster minions in excess. Turtle has to kill some more of the backline here.
Yeah, and this is rough. This is rough, man. If you play top lane, you know how this feels. And it's not good, especially against Trundle, who is so good in the long lane as well. Yeah. And this is what I said about the junglers potentially need to go up top. Now, obviously, he has broken it, so it's not going to be a big time for Turtle to cry. But losing out a lot of experience, right? Being forced into a bad position for an early game champion as well. I do feel like it's a pretty tough laning phase early on, and it kind of doesn't help that the bot lane also got ahead.
Yeah, Garden Gaming sides both ahead, and that's going to unlock Bash even more, being ahead now of Flammy an entire quadrant, that 12 CS we see there. He's going to be able to pick up the grubs. I think he should also make it down for Dragon as well. The push and move from Ericsson bought them so much time, so much freedom. They have to play the Infernal Dragon as well, I feel. Bash has not got an easy way into a lane, which is what we know Jin Zhao for. Permanent fights, permanent engage. Instead, you can use this on the objectives and then maintain your own lead.
And it feels like Flammy is just one step behind the pace, right? Like, grubs have been taken already. They haven't even started Dragon, which could give a world where Ruza get contested on this pick, but instead Bash is just going to keep clearing the jungle. They're just going to go straight and invade and make Flammy further and further behind. One Infernal Dragon isn't going to change the course of the game.
Not massively. It will start the clock running. So if Garden Gaming do get that lead, you know, an extra 5 minutes added on before you're picking up Soul, which is still so impactful. I think we called it as pretty impactful at the start of the split, and it's only got more and more of a sign throughout, as we see Fat Shield is actually under the tower there. I'm not sure exactly how far he went, but I think he took a shot.
But look at it. It's just...
He's just going.
Trundle Gaming, eh?
Like, he's like, you want a bite? I'll have a bite.
So just trying to defend this tower, and look, I think the state in which Flammy's in, it's very early on, right, Temporal? Like, I feel like we're kind of setting the scene, and maybe if you're like a new viewer to League, you might be like, oh, these guys are like saying the game's kind of over. It's just a rough patch right now, and I feel like a lot of scaling is kind of needed for the side of Ruza to get their feet under them. But if we do get to the mid game, if we do get to some good team fights, they have Smolder, and they also have Way.
Yeah. Big pieces. They're just moving slower right now. And that's okay. does mean that their like ability to snap their fingers and just say like, oh, I want this is reduced. But with careful planning, careful vision, you can still get in there. You've still got moves. 1,000 in the bank. It's a big difference. But if we look across Garden Gaming, you don't have champions to take off later into the game at 3-4 items. Sure, Trundle will still be a menace. But once you've got your Malignance, you're on Karma. The rest is pretty much vanity. Again, MKL, once it's past 3 items, will be massive artillery. There isn't a hyper carry, there isn't a Smolder, there isn't a Hui, who are directly facing across from them. And with that dragon stacking, there'll be at least 20 more minutes before there is a big cataclysmic end of game swing.
Trundle being a menace just reminds me of like Hillisang support Trundle. You know, just split pushing for an inhib while the rest of the team are just like scrapping it out, like that kind of stuff. But right now, it does feel like Garden Gaming, they've managed to kind of eke out this lead from the jungle and utilize it into the lanes, right? They've already got pushing lanes in mid, top, and in the bot lane, and it gives Bash just so much range to do things, and they're also 2 levels up temporal. It looks like realistically the Grubs, they might even get all 6 this game.
I'd like to see it. That's a lot of power to the Trundle. It's sort of as you said. It's a weird setup when you start to twist roles and like everyone thinks they know like, oh, this is what a jungler does, this is what an AD carry does. In this game, Garden Gaming's top laner has just decided that it's not the contribute to the team and be that team player. It's like no, I'm going for infrastructure. I'm going with my chin straight in, and instead their AD carries that artillery mage. So, you had me going with the Trundle support, where it's like, the best way to play support if I'm Hillisang in this game is just to play top lane.
Well, you know what? Sometimes it works. Like, sometimes the unexpected really does work, and dire situations call for dire measures. Now, obviously, Garden Gaming, they're going to be pretty chilled out, but we may see a remnant of that, say the game gets a lot closer to temporal, and actually Namex is just 1v5ing team fights. Then maybe we see that split push Trundle really come into fruition. Obviously, it's always there for them. There's always that potential. And as you said, we might even get long-range AP Kai'Sa build. So there's still a lot of scope going on in this game. Obviously, at the moment, though, they are building a bit of AD.
I should highlight this is absolutely the build. You start Man Immune on it. It's one of the few Fat Shield and Bash coming in under the tower, thinking about it, hesitating. Oh but no! Nice.
But it's nice. They've just wasted Dominus. Like now, Rekton is in a much worse state. Can't contest now for the Grubs. That should be 6 stacked up. And on the bot side, maybe a bit of relief could come in for Ruza if they manage to get this 4 dive off. They are bringing members across, and Flammy is there, going to stop the recall of Nickel. It's going to be hooked back, but Nature's Rust is in. There's Mum being called in, but it goes slightly wide, but in comes Hui. Flammy looking for the final bit of damage with Evolve. Do they have enough? One more, it's not enough. They just managed to get the kill, and maybe 2 and 2. Not going to be enough to find off the kill onto Shiro, but 1 picked up, and will give them a little bit of relief. However, plates in mid going down.
Excellent macro play from both teams. Garden Gaming on the top side, rather than just doing the objective, they go through the steps. They don't make any shortcuts. They don't waste an opportunity. They go and make a play, expend cooldowns from their opponent, then safely take the objective, uncontestable. Meanwhile, Ruza recognized this behind the tower on bot lane. Nice cross-map play. They funneled gold into Ivor. Can't complain at all. Both teams definitely respecting the importance of game 1 in this series.
Yeah, Hui and Smolder, definitely 2 names that might be showing quite a bit in the later team fights. And it is a little bit of a thought process. I feel like we talked about this game a lot from the perspective of Garden Gaming being ahead. But if there is a moment where they start to get behind, it could become quite scary. Because I think scaling-wise, yes, Kai'Sa can become very dangerous, so can Trundle. But come on, man. If you've played League of Legends recently, you know Smolder is it.
Smolder is the one. The chosen Dragonborn. I think it's fair to say, like, Trundle as well, also not so commonly seen in top lane, because, we see him and he does all these things, so why isn't he picked very often? Hasn't really plowed through Turtle's tower as fast as you'd like. The CS lead, sure, 10's opened up since that last forcing of Dominus, but not the biggest smash. Trundle is limited, not only in range, but his ability to overwhelm an opponent who respects his timings, and respects his ability to get an all into the pillar. If you're nice and cautious, nice and slow, his ability to accelerate is weak. Bash has found the flank.
Ooh, Namek's going to be locked up there, and Greason trying to get away. Will flash out. The hook is wide, but it doesn't matter. There's the knockup coming in from Bash, and a nice kill for Mikkel. Going to secure another lead accrued in the bot lane.
Garden Gaming still accelerating, still going. I think it's fair criticism that 2,000 gold at 12 minutes probably wasn't what they were looking for. They haven't really hit the gas going. And sure, they've got all the grubs. The dragon has been delayed. So neither will be hitting Soul just after 20 minutes. But they've got to keep their foot on the pedal. If they start to slip now, the bigger wheels of Ruza will swing back into this quite nicely. They are not so far behind.
Yeah, and Turtle is sticking to the name, actually. You know, maybe I should have given him credit for that. They are turtling.
Yeah.
They are holding on. And they can just stall this long enough, then they can really just open up the chances. I will say I'm still looking at the Flammy Bash link situation. It is still quite a big lead over to the Xin Zhao. So in terms of looking at that level 4 to 8, I think the Bash really maximized what they could get from it temporal. But where do they go now that they're post level 8?
I think the ability to break a side lane open, despite GG having 2 ahead side lanes at various stages of this game, is kind of starting to go. It's going to be escorting Ericsson out now, out of mid lane. Way also quite fast at pushing. Garden Gaming, they've got to do that, get ahead of an objective play. I feel like this is a bit much to try and dive Turtle again. The Dominus is already back up.
Ooh, they might just go for the tower first, though. If they can just hit that, and now they have a free reign. Dominus is there, but Turtle has no protection from the environment, and they will go down. Back picking up another kill, but in the bot lane, though, Ruza have found their feet. They're looking for the kill, and they will be able to get Shiro. That is one back in Greason, not allowing the Flammy to go anywhere near dead. And that will be a nice pick up there for Ruza. So once again, sticking to the game plan. If they see GG going for a play up top, they make something happen bot lane.
Yeah, they're going to cross map it. They're going to keep the advantage gained by GG as little or as neutral as possible. Oh, the TP comes through.
Close. Not enough. Namek's now getting absolutely removed from the game. One inner flame will pick up that kill. The Acadian Rain burning through the health bar of the little dragon, and a very nice TP from Fashiel just gives them their extra bit of confidence to take down the bot lane.
I'd be so mad if I was Namex right now. I was sure that tower went down in time, but the TP completes, Fat Shield arrives, all the same to break open the bot lane. Ah. Even play overall. Garden Gaming, slow expansion of their gold lead. It is still slow and crawling, which is good. There's not crazy fights. There's not easy ways for Ruza to gain their own lead back into this game and get that Smolder anchored, get the way a huge gold injection off of a team fight. We're still crawling slowly forwards, and with Soul delayed as well. I've said it once, I'll say it again. There is no need to rush right now.
Slow, calm, collected.
Fat Shield should probably have rushed out of here.
Yeah, Fat Shield maybe can't go too slow, although nice pillar will actually get them out.
Reason respects it. That is absolute Troll King mentality.
Trundle, man. Trundle Gaming. I'm telling you, there's a reason I love playing against him. But at the
raise
same
your
time,
clubs in chat. That is awful to play against.
Raise your clubs for all of the dubs. That's what they're thinking right now. But Garden Gaming, they've had a lot of control. They've got the Rift Herald. They're still yet to utilize it. Obviously, mid tower could be a potential prospect. Maybe they hold it for a little bit longer, though, because it is low. But next dragon coming up, 48 seconds. It's going to be Ocean Drake. And you said they don't have to rush. They can take their time. But I imagine Garden Gaming want to get the secure on this one.
Yeah, you want to start building pressure. If you're Ruza, again, it's not the end of the world. We're still 15 minutes away. 3 dragon spawns now until Soul is possible. I feel like this Rift Herald should be used by Garden Gaming. You could use it El Clasico. No need to jump aboard the train to get that mid lane tower. You don't need the extra charge damage that loading one of your characters up inside the Rift Herald gives. So you can drop that, you can walk away, peacefully get the Baron. As long as your own tower is defended, it looks like Ruza's answer here to get Namex up as far as possible and invite Garden Gaming nowhere near the objective.
Yeah, burning TP and having first mobilization onto Drake due to wave push.
Fat
However,
Shield.
Fat Shield is there first, and this is now a 4 versus 5. Fat Shield getting a bit of damage onto Flammy, who is the main target here before the dragon. and they want to be able to pick up that kill. They will force them back, however, and surely secure this one to be on their own terms. However, Namex is still insistent on playing for this tower, so forcing Garden Gaming to think twice.
Trying to give Garden Gaming as little confidence as possible as sending multiple members towards the dragon. Looks like 2 and 2. Is it a sufficient pairing? They should be able to get through all of this and defend their own tower. They've got a Rift Herald play to make before any other objectives come up now. I think the Baron probably won't be on either team's mind when it spawns. We don't have huge Baron damage yet.
I know, Smolder just trying to hold on, man. Just trying to hold on to this tower. I think it is going to finally fall down. So another tier 1 taken out by Garden Gaming, and that will complete their set. All 3 removed from the map, and their gold lead is 4k Temporal. So it's still growing. It's humble, but it is strong, and it is getting somewhere.
It's another 2k after 5 minutes. I think that's pretty fair growth. I think the way in which they can make this happen, they can now guide that Ginger through the enemy jungle and start to cut off Ruza before they approach objectives. It will eventually make Namex playing up on the wave in mid unsustainable and start to push that down, because that's been the way Ruza has not fallen down and has made Garden Gaming still work to continue to grow their lead.
And if we can get a quick look at Smolder's stats when we next see them on the map.
Oh, go on then. 152.
152.
Namex is a bit of a machine. Yeah, that bot lane was...
The golden number is 225, right?
I believe it's 14.6 where that gets changed, so yes.
Okay. Well,
take the wheel,
75 away.
Take the wheel.
75 away, and the dragon is full build in terms of their own personal growth. And they're definitely one to watch out for, because I will say Namex is actually, when we looked at the gold, ahead of Mikkel. So out of all of the people that are far ahead, right, it's mainly on Bash and Fat Shield that have accrued this 4k gold lead, but actually in that bot lane and in the mid, it's still pretty close, if not slightly favored to Ruza.
Just that sort of dynamic we've seen from the teams. I think it's fair to say Ruza do better with gold, but also they are not leading without it. With Ericsson's second item coming through, the Karma will start to fall off from now. Just still has a great ability to like push through waves and support a team. The remaining items do not do the things that Hui's items are going to do, which are going to be killing 5 people with a massive swirling doom bolt coming down. All right, Rift Herald spawn will give Garden Gaming access here, but the wave is split and they are not together.
Ooh, and in the top side, they do have to be careful as well. Factual does still pose quite a bit of a threat, but in that bot lane, tower going to be crashed into. Turtle trying to hold on. Evil is there as well. A nice dodge away will get Turtle out safely there. Did not want to give his life as well as the tier 2 tower, but another piece of brick collected by the side of Garden Gaming. And in the top side, it does look like this tower should be claimable for the side of Namex, as Fat Shield had to back away.
Yeah, another weakness of the Trundle, not great on wave clear. So Namex and Reason will push Fat Shield back into the base. Garden Gaming now in a bit of a difficult position where in one lane they can push their advantage, they can meaningfully destroy infrastructure of Ruza, but they can't do it over the map at the whole time. We've already seen 2 great cross maps from Ruza coming in under bot lane towers, and while those are no longer there, they've consistently found cross maps. The lead sustained at 4,000 gold despite tier 2s going down. Garden Gaming now have to try and find a way to make that work in a way that is one-sided. That will be the Baron, but they have to take an extra step to get there. They have to use their further tier 1 tower taking to get vision in, to make a pick, to gain an advantage. It is all their own.
Right now, though, Garden Gaming starting to make a play in the mid, as we do see in the top side. Fatshield still sticking to the Trundle gameplay. That is a lot of damage onto tower, but Sparring Despair is going to be used by Evok. A bit of damage will come through as Flammy also joining the fight. That's a lot of members. Mum coming in. Smolder with the burn. Fatshield will fall down, and Evok will claim the kill.
There's something of Ruza's own in the top side. They've managed to defend. The Trundle still a bit one-dimensional at this stage. Just Garden Gaming trying to find that edge, trying to find a way in. Not quite making it through. Ruza and bouncing off a little bit disappointingly.
46 seconds on the Dragon Temporal. And we talked about that gold. It ever so slightly started to come back towards Ruza. So they are making a little bit of a turn in events. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Yes, the early game, amazing for Garden Gaming, but will they be able to keep that into the later stages? The gold is starting to trickle back, and it's giving the answer of no. But this next Dragon, the fact that Roots are even down to contest this so heavily makes me think that they're quite confident about their status in the game.
They should be right now. They just picked up a bounty off of Fat Shield. They should be wary that Mikkel just got that Luden's Companion through. It is time for this AP Kaiser that has been sleeping in the bottom lane, scaling up and getting ready to really start taking names, taking heads. Namex there, already starting with 1W. I'm not sure it's evolved yet for Mikkel. Didn't quite see the plasma stacks there, but if it is, 2 shots is an immediate plasma stack. Very, very dangerous to play against.
Yeah, they are managed to gain the hook onto Namex, but a nice devour will give a little bit of time for the Dragon as Reason spits them back out. Fat Shield now on the backline, causing major issues as here comes the knockup from the Nautilus. Fat Shield will not go down, finally does fall, and does it give space for Ruza to turn this one around. Evok is so low, gonna have to walk away, and Ericsson still just so healthy, but Mikkel in the backline only able to fire in the Seekers as Ericsson forcing them back again, but maybe step too close to the Dragon. Namex stepping forward, looking for the kill, but it's not enough, and Bash diving in onto the Dragon might have enough damage to kill them off. They pick up that one, and with the Karma they take another. That's going to be the team fight to Garden Gaming, and Ruza, they put up a good fight Temporal, but it's not enough just yet.
The Dragon Prince Namex coming online there at the start of the fight. The final stacks, I believe, were an at you right at the start. And that was an absolute team fight of inches. It looks like GG got away with like 300-400 health each. There was slivers above the Elder Dragon execute that killed Mikkel in a splashback at the end. Garden Gaming will go to Soul Point. They've got 3 of those down. The next Dragon a must contest now. But at the same time, Ruza so close to tipping the scales and bringing us to an even mid-game.
And I've got to say, a lot of it, to me, is on Ericsson, right? This Karma pick just gives you so much survivability. The fact that you can give out these perma shields, the fact that you yourself can heal, it just has so much potential to just hold your team alive. And it just reminds me of, did you ever watch Drake and Josh as a show?
Not my thing. That was the Disney Channel one, right?
It was Nickelodeon.
We're in like a hotel.
But either way, there was a whole like meme where it was like Megan was like what the brother used to say. I feel like in this game, Ruza are going to be like Karma, you know?
Who's Megan?
Oh, that was their sister that always did like bad things.
They'd be like, how could Megan do this?
Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah,
she's up to no
People in
good.
chat who know will know. They'll get it.
So it's like Meg from Family Guy. I didn't watch that much Family Guy, but I think that's like Meg.
Similar energy, but yeah. Either way, moving on from it, let's get back into this one. Fat Shield still pushing down in that bot side, and Namex still playing quite aggressively, right? The small is still packing a bit of a punch, and with a bit more positioning, maybe they could have turned that one around, but obviously a lot of dive threats coming in from Garden Gaming there. Bash being able to stick onto a target, always a bit of a problem, and I have to say, Fat Shield is quite tanky.
Yeah, who is the nemesis, by the way? Who is Meg? We're going back to this. I found it.
What, Meg?
Who is it in this game?
In this game, it's Karma.
Karma. It's just like Ericsson.
Karma. It's like, you know how like I would have got away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids? I would have got away with it if it wasn't for Karma's shielding. That's the kind of energy.
It's just like, I've been rooted, I've been shielded, and now my health bars are like, how could you do this?
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe Scooby-Doo, actually. That would have been a better reference.
I think Namex, just knowing that there were 2 members there ready to engage without their own flashes and being very confident here. Ruza just showing that they are keeping track of those summoning spells, even if it's making me glance twice over at the right side of the screen.
Yeah, Fat Shield and Turtle are actually quite confident right now, so I'm really interested to see how that one plays out, because they're very happy to step forward. And one thing we've talked about a little bit earlier, right? Baron is on the map. No one has taken it just yet. And are we, Temporal, maybe expecting a 2-minute 30 fight? Is that where we're next expecting fireworks?
I think Garden Gaming will go for the Baron if they can find some sort of edge. I think if the Dragon Soul hadn't gone their way, they'd be forced towards the Baron. Wow, Namex firing away. Turtle slowly sequestering the spot side back into the tier 3. Not giving any quarter to Fat Shield unnecessarily. No big explosive gain there. That's a big win for Ruza's top laner.
And Ruza It's very comfortable at the moment, and it does give me that slight suspicion of, okay, the later the game goes on, if there's no big mess up from Ruza, they are starting to edge closer and closer to victory. But obviously the driving seat is still for Garden Gaming, right? They are the ones that can still pull the trigger. They did win that last team fight, right? They are still in control, but it just feels like the longer we go, the more and more it starts to slip away.
The more the Hui and the Smolder really start to get going eventually. I think both of these scaling picks are just unmatched on the patch. They've already both received attention in 14.6 after this. Despite, you know, the sort of ethos of like everyone being down on 0.6, 0.7 patches, because 0.5 tends to be quite big year on year. I think both of these champions still really tuned highly in their role and have a strong ability to take over a late game. There is always going to be, I think until like 5 items, that threat that Bash can just eviscerate either one of them. We'll see how they mitigate it. But otherwise, Garden Gaming is pretty confident. But you're right, the later we go, the stronger this pair get.
Yeah, no, definitely, I believe definitely max stacks now. I think they were on like 270 when we last checked in.
I think
it's starting to cause issues, though. We got to talk about that build again, right? You talked about it being that cannon build. It does look like the AP is coming pretty heavily for Mikkel and Flanny. You need to dodge one of these, brother.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. 5 potential bans Flammy's way, forced onto an engaged champion, and now just the target of Mikkel. Really rough.
Pretty fair, but right now Shiro is going to target straight on to Namex. However, he's going to be swallowed up by the Sam Kench, who gets popped immediately, by the way. And GG, no contention in this fight. Absolutely eviscerate Ruza. That is going to be a Dragon Soul for them, but it might actually be more temporal. They might go for more towers here. Fat Shield is still pressing the go button in the top lane, looking for these towers. And I believe the Garden Gaming should be able to secure the tier 2 at minimum.
Yeah, a bit odd here. If I was Garden Gaming, I'd be going for that Baron and then saying, hey, Ruza, we've just got Baron, we've just based. Come at me, bro. You've got to fight this dragon again. Instead, maybe the coast to coast? This is a bit greedy from Garden Gaming. They will run out of time if Ruza managed to rally. I think they should. 9 and 20. No, they will do it. They will do it. This Kaiser clearly doing enough damage with the AP empowered plasma stacks now. Burn through this quick enough. Yeah, it will be the coast to coast. Both objectives over the Garden Gaming. 2 nasty inner flames in the fight. Really pushed them through there. And we said scaling mage, we said Hui. It turns out at 3 items and a death cap coming in on top. Might have been Ericsson instead all along.
Yeah, and I also mentioned it's like, as long as they don't make a big mistake.
Yeah,
is,
like eating that hook straight off
Baron at the same time. Then it should be looking pretty good for Ruza. But now it's a very tough hill to climb. Right now, I don't know really how they're going to play it. I'm expecting the answer to be you got to scale and hope GG overextend. But it feels like GG, everything is in their hands.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Turtle coming up. I don't think we've seen a fight with all members of Ruza together. I feel like if they get Garden Gaming to start it...
we may not get one.
Oh, no.
We may not get one
Turtle.
because Turtle is going to be sent back to the fountain, but not alive. And it should be an easy pickup, maybe trying to get something back, but it's not going to be so. That's another kill going over to Garden Gaming. And Ruza, they said, you know what, we're just going to base race you, but we're going to go from tier 1 mid. That's going to be a tower taken down, but they got to get back to base real quick because their base is under jeopardy.
Yeah, like Turtle can't flash on a carry for another 5 minutes. I feel like Ruza's big teamfight pieces may be wasted slightly here. They'll get back to defend their Nexus towers. That is a lot of grubs. Yes. I wouldn't mind GG going through and trying to respawn those. They are, I think, every 12 seconds. Every time you're in combat, tower or no.
Ooh, tower there. 2 towers going to be taken now. And here comes Ruzo. They're down to have a bit of a scrap here. Mum going to be utilized to burn quite a bit of HP. And also the Spiraling Despair. But at the moment, no one is falling down from GG. And they are just able to back out. They're still pretty healthy. Have a lot of shields. And they could even potentially turn for round number 2. If a hook lands, but Shiro going to be slightly off the mark. And now the damage is starting to rain in. Namix with a pick up quickly disperses the side of Garden Game.
Amex there, just managing the front line. I think Shiro also deserves a shout out. Took the Spiraling Despair out to the left on the front so it didn't echo. Else the rest of Garden Gaming would not have been able to sustain that front line. It's just small advantages. 2 tier 3 towers, 1 inhibitor. Ruza have struggled so far keeping the Trundle out of their base and getting Tuttle to wave clear under towers. There is now lines where there are no towers but the Nexuses that he will be able to sit under and defend. Fat Shield at this stage, the Trundle, you know, we said, oh, it doesn't translate through the mid game. It doesn't have all the tools you need from a top laner. It's sort of a bit one-dimensional. That one dimension is now all Garden Gaming need to break open that Nexus.
Only 1 tier 3 tower remaining, 2 Nexus towers, and a couple of inhibs. But the next dragon going to be up in 3 minutes. I do wonder if Garden Gaming slow down and play for it. However, I never love an Elder flip, you know?
No, yeah, so I don't like the chances. Even if it's like 90%, I'm like, that's 10% of worlds where I just don't enjoy this. Nickel,
now though, Evo going to go down. Nickel with a quick kill, and now they should be able to claim another inhib. Although the mobilization from Ruza is pretty quick. They have managed to rotate straight down into that bot lane and are defending this inhib. A little bit more damage will knock it over, but can they get close enough without sustaining massive damage? They will be able to take this one, and now the base is starting to get shredded. Here comes the damage. That's another member down, and they've only got to look for Namix. If Namix falls, it is over, but the rest of the team might be going down faster. 3 inhibs have fallen, 1 Nexus tower down, the second will fall, and GG will say just that to Ruza in game 1.
Hello, Garden Gaming. Up against a frankly, really strong upper bracket opponent who pushed 2 games straight through Rich Gang at the start of the series. You show up and you say, actually, we're going to get started. We're going to go first here. Excellent moves, and the Ruza are going to have to sit down, think about this, and come back together, because that was not the way they wanted a Smolder Hue game to turn out.
And this is the big stage. This is Friday Night Lights, Temporal, right? You got to play for the big one here, because this is it. If you lose here, you are done. You got to wait till summer to come back. So you better make sure that you're ready. You better make sure you step up. We'll see what changes they make for game 2. We're going to go for a break just now. We're back. Temporal. Does
Yo.
5 bans against the jungler work? That's the question.
Finally.
Are we going to see it again? Are we just going to see a run back from the side of China Gaming? Are they just going to re-ban out Flammy?
I was like really critical of the draft. I was like, you know, if you do this in game one, you do this gambit. Rich Gang decided to take all 5 games of like hammering Ruzo's most proficient picks in mid lane and AD. And those are excellent players. And we saw them do excellent things in this game, but there was limited infrastructure to get them into a fight and actually make things happen. So apparently 5 bans on Flammy, who's left to do this all on his own. Poor Turtle was quite slow in moving to the big fights. You know, he's got to get his shell on his back and he's got to get over there slowly. And Trundle's chasing him the whole time and chasing his towers. It was clearly enough. Run it back, see what happens. In the best of 5, you should feel confident challenging your opponent to say like, oh, we did this thing that worked. Beat it, or we're just going to do it again. And then you're approaching end of series, pressures mounting, more advantages.
There's a couple of things I think we could maybe have seen them adapt to now that I like really had a bit of time to think about it in the break. Right, there's Rek'Sai has been looming a lot. Also, Bel'Veth has become a little bit popular. But also the one that I was really thinking about that I didn't get to see was Zac or Gragas.
We've had so much Gragas in 4 Nations. It's been incredible.
Yeah,
I think it has also...
Good.
Was it picked in LEC as well? I haven't watched as much LEC as I normally do this split, but it has appeared in tier 1. Just Lichbane first, Gragas just absolutely destroy someone as an assassin, and then your barrel goes even harder. You know, sure, the cooldown's 20 seconds longer because you're not building haste, but it will half health the carry that is being yeeted towards your team, and that's often what you need.
Yeah, so I do wonder if there's maybe some kind of obviously
AP as well.
When it comes to picking bans, if you're doing it live, you don't have loads of time. So maybe Rusa weren't expecting it. They weren't necessarily expecting the amount of bans towards Flammy, but maybe they've had a bit of time. They've been like, okay, look, actually, when it comes down to we can play X, Y, and Z, we could also draft it a little bit earlier. So I do wonder if we'll see a similar draft. I wonder if we see a pivot from Garden Gaming on how they decide to ban out. But so far, so good. I talked about it in game 1. Garden Gaming, really, really good when they get those early leads. They did exactly that to a T, and they ran with the rest of the game. I want to see what happens when they get put on the back foot, because that would be the real show of a massive growth from their team from the regular split.
Yeah, attacking Rusa, who have done so well. I'm a little bit worried for Rusa's draft plans, right? They also hit some target bans. It wasn't all jungler all the time. But are we going to give MKL his Varus that he's had such great like style and presence on? You've got to change some bans around if you feel the Trundle is an exclusive thing. If you're not going to let Karma go through and you've swapped sides perhaps, you've either got to take that yourself, which means Smolder's got to go. You're changing and chopping things that could affect this Varus, could affect other setup. And it's a risk. It's not the easiest way for Rusa out of this predicament.
I also like the Trundle, not only because it was good against Renekton, not only because it was good in the early game, but it also is really good in my own experience. Maybe someone in chat is like, actually, no, you're really wrong. But against Mordekaiser, which we saw Ruza play quite a bit, and it from my own experience, it's pretty devastating. So I think that there is a little bit of a kind of twist with the fact that they've shown the Trundle now. It's in the minds. It makes it a little bit harder to just blind your top laner because you're now like, wait a minute, they might come through with the pick.
Mordekaiser's worst enemy is someone who accepts his 1v1 challenge, says, oh, I'll take that debuff and I'm going to whack you anyway. So like old Kaiser top was really good into it. Trundle's really good. I think the Wind Brothers, Yone and Yasuo, give him reasonable trouble based on that, because you bring the mace down and they will slide through and proceed to kill you because your damage on passive not enough on its own. So if you can't reliably be that 1v1 sort of like dueling glove slap fight me champion, it does fall apart quite quickly.
Yeah, so it's a sentiment of, I think that Garner Gaming have set themselves up really well for the start of this series. I like how they've come into it. They came out swinging. It's what I said at the start of game one. I want to see them do the same again. I really want to kind of push that pedal, keep that high tempo, and keep Bruiser guessing. But I'm just excited to get into game two, man. Like, I really like a good series, man. I love a playoffs.
We saw such great things from Ruza, and now they have to show up their backs against the wall, lower bracket. This is the Friday that will sort of define the rest of their summer. Because if you're coming back again unsuccessful, it's a long time. And
yeah, it seems to doubt in a team
not happy being a bunny. Yeah.
It is a team that has also had like decently high expectations. I think like
from
they
us,
themselves have set themselves pretty high. We have also talked about them being a very good team that has a very solid basis to potentially go all the way to the finals. So I do think that there is a world where they themselves maybe are crumbling a little bit under the pressure. Also, the fact that they did so well against Rich Gang, it just sets them up to do well. They are the expected winners. And the fact that Garner Gaming have come in with the sucker punch game one, can they stabilize? Can they get back to their feet? Can they survive the 10 count?
It's a big question. They will have to reinvent their draft. Interested to see which side they've picked. Haven't got that just yet. But hopefully they can spin around. You know, it's unusual that we see blue side so controlled in draft. Okay, Ruza will be running it back on blue. Excellent.
Interesting. Because wasn't it? We were talking a little bit about this before the game. Wasn't it that red side was their big winning ticket?
They took 2 wins against Rich Gang early in the series, both on red side, and then proceeded to lose on red, blue, and blue to Rich Gang. So not the most sided in their losses, but sided in their wins. Having a quick look over the picks. Red 5. It's not always the biggest swing. They got Mordekaiser in a decent matchup once. But then not the biggest things. Not sort of late game swings. We do see an Aurelia there in their loss as well on blue side. This is not the most red coded draft I've ever seen. I'm not gonna lie. That looks like an R5 Aatrox, which is just upsetting. But, yeah, they've got something to prove now.
No, indeed they do. And I think that obviously draft pinching, taking away the champion pools, maybe Garner Gaming saw something that other teams didn't. I do wonder if they just go for the same run back. I don't really see why they shouldn't if Ruza kind of lock in similar champions.
Just looking back, and the last time... Oh, okay. With the exception of one Vi and one Jin Zhao game, that is Flammy's entire jungle pool from this season banned out with those 5 bans from last game, bar the first game of the season, which was also Maokai. So maybe Garden Gaming took that gambit knowing exactly what they were doing. In that case, definitely do it again.
We're starting off again with the same energy. We're going to see the
Nico with that in Karma and blue. No, Ruza, no. Take it yourself. Deal. Oh dear. Okay, this is going to be dangerous now. That is a Smolder run back if I've ever seen it.
I do like the Karma ban. I'll be honest. I don't really like Karma. I don't really like watching it either. I think it's just so strong, man. Like, why do you not just die? Strong. Like, so yeah, I'm not super sad about it.
It's the balance, J-Real. The wave must disappear, the health bar must stay the same, and the opponent must stand still. Yeah,
it's definitely not one of my favorites, but we are seeing the same bans from Garner Gaming 3 junglers straight away, 3 APs, and we're getting a B1 smoke.
All right, please, Ruza. First rotation your jungle. Don't allow 2 more jungle bans to get Flammy off of his comfort zone. Even if it was a Maokai, which is a very strong champion, clearly something didn't work out there. And I feel between Turtle and Flammy, gonna have a reliable engage to get those expressive late game carries that clearly we're picking once again actually into a fight.
Yeah, well, Nautilus back on the agenda. Worked out really well. Was very
Let's
good
say,
at getting
is this
Namix.
going to be another long delay into R2, just as it was last game, but it's going to be the same pick, same champion.
They're making you think. They're like, oh, we might change what we want to go for. We're not going to, but we might. We could. We could.
I love the mental warfare. That little bit of fake out. Just I'm like, oh, maybe we'll change it. Maybe we'll change it. Oh, they do. Okay, it's unbearable. An extra quote unquote takeaway from Flammy here. If the adaptation is first round the jungler, you've now lost the 4.
And I like this pick as well. Like, Viego coming in is strong. I think it's good. It gives Flammy a little bit of comfort. But Volibear, like, how many patches have we been talking about Volibear just being really, really strong?
I love him. Fantastic champion in competitive. Just the ability to say, like, no, that tower is belong to me and I've caught your carry now. Ooh, this would be an interesting adaptation. A 2v2 heavy bot lane to dive in over the Volibear. Garden Gaming might have started the same in bans, but they've had to fork their plan. They can't continue banning and suppressing Flammy in jungle. Would have preferred to see the Vi over Viego, so we're seeing Flammy's sort of personal expression come through here. Ahri Vi is as lethal as it was at the start of the split. Absolutely fantastic 2v2 setup, and does have that engage that Viego himself does not have. Banning out Turtle's top lane now, I feel like the easiest way to continue playing forwards, instead reinforcing this 2v2 in bot side.
Yeah, I'm not against it. Obviously, Brom very good against the Nautilus. I think that other things as well, like the Taric, could potentially go quite well, but we'll see what they decide to ban away. The Trundle taken out. I like it from the side of Ruza. Just get rid of the troll, man.
Just not again. Please, not again. And also, I'm on the fence about this. So Turtle probably going to play something balanced and open. Hasn't done too much that isn't like Aatrox, Poppy, like these open sort of lanes that don't die a lot, don't kill a lot, and offer something to the team. Renekton, we didn't get to see that last time round. Feel like a Poppy blue 4 here would be fine.
Do we get it? Do we get it? Let's have a little look. Right now, though, the Olaf going to be banned away. Again, a pick that we did see Garden Gaming play against Ruta to a lot of success. LeBlanc being picked up. LeBlanc Ahri is quite an old school matchup.
What year is it? What year is it? Is it 2013? It's 2013 again, guys. I think the AD variant was sufficiently enough. I have seen a few static shivs flying around in solo queue. I'm not convinced either way. Especially with the rest of the team comp. Volibear adds a lot of magic damage. Namix once again hovering this misfortune just to tease us. It will be the Poppy on blue 4. They are still thinking about top lane and jungle. They have already locked down the spot lane push. Oh no, wait, support. I tell a lie. Rel, engage. It would be just fine. Has a decent setup into Nautilus. Not the best, not the worst.
I also thought they maybe could go Poppy on the bot side.
I think this is a Renata instant lock-in, but apparently we're not doing it.
Ooh,
never mind, though. Yeah, all right. They need the engage. They're worried about the engage. Ruza still in last game, perhaps a little bit, which means Garden Gaming have done the mental warfare and it's worked. They're like, oh yeah, how can we engage? How can we engage? Without the Vi, they do need something a bit harder. Poppy and Rel will be the main ways in. If I'm up against Poppy, if I'm here on a current patch, I'm probably just picking Twisted Fate and shoving them under tower till the end of days. Fat Shield, though, that's not his style. Hey, never mind. He's pushing it away. He doesn't want a 1v1. He doesn't want another one. He's like, I will play the team game. You know, Twisted Fate, AD, top. I feel like the Shiv build is very good and will likely see balanced attention. I feel like what is even better, and shout out to Kerberos, I feel like I shout him out on NLC exclusively. He is of this region, previous NLC Division 1 winner, I believe. It's been a hot minute. His technology on the Twisted Fate is absolutely legendary. It's like, forget all that wave clear stuff. Forget this. You're going to pick every attack speed shard you can in runes. and you can just pick all health as production would like us to share to the most recently released champion for Garden Gaming is Callista from 2014. This team is 50 years old between them. That is an absolutely monumental number. Yes, so we're going Kraken Slayer, Ginsu's PD. Those 3 items is enough damage to eviscerate anyone 1v1, and then pure tank. Why not? Just be an immovable object and an unstoppable force. Whichever way we go from Garden Gaming, excited to see the Twisted Fate on the Rift.
Yeah, I don't think it's as oppressive as it was at one point.
Oh, it's atrocious. It's
I remember
horrible
when
to play against this.
it came out, and I was like, "Hey, this needs to get banned." It is.
It's like played one game. It's like,
yeah, it's just not it. You know, like I've been talking to some top laners. Right, I've been talking a little bit to Aragon and a little bit to I've completely blanked the name now. Right, top laner who used to play for Ruddy, been around the scene for ages. No, it will come to my mind in a minute. Anyway,
someone else.
Either way, it's just.
But Aragon tried to sell you on some funky Rennington build. Even though
they were just both saying how they just do not like ranged top laners. However, most ranged top laners are not very good. Hey, you can sell it with him. It's not my fight. But I also agree with them. I'll be honest.
So I'm the mage top lane player. I'm so far underground in the top lane meta discussion that I'm not coming back up again.
But either way, Facial there in the lane, gonna be doing his thing. Twisted Fate, love a bit of a gold card. And Poppy and Viego actually gonna start making their way into the jungle here. Flammy gonna get an aggressive ward down, but Bash able to clear it, and Ericsson, he's getting a level 2 early.
XP shared between him and Bash. I think you have to solo it these days. I think it got changed, but we'll see. We'll keep track of that. In any case, Ericsson is slightly now over Evoc. If it doesn't come through now, like missing a caster minion in the future.
Rifty, by the way, that's who it was.
Rifty. Oh, Rifty, yeah. My guy. He's not active at the moment, is he?
No, but great player, great lad.
If we really want to go full podcast, I believe I've inflicted some mental damage on Rifty in the past. UKLC qualifiers 2021 spring. I'm sorry, my friend. You should not have had to have played against that Cho'Gath, but we kind of had your number. Turns out if you pick a really dumb, ignorant tank and force someone like Turtle was forced last game to stay in lane when really they need to group and complete a team composition, it deals some damage to the top laner inside us all.
Well, what's the strat for this game, right? We've got Volibear on the top side, going to be pathing down. Same with Flammy. No crazy early invades in the jungle this time, Temporal. Are we expecting a lot of bot side focus, though, due to the fact that the junglers are on the top side?
Yeah, I want to shout out Flammy pathing down here. I believe defensive. Oh, maybe going for the reversal back up the top. This is a bit of an odd line. They have pinged out the wards that will be seen. Flammy can't cast E now on anything that looks at. When you're up against Callista and an all-in support, you need to cover for dives reasonably early. Bash here coming across, suspecting that Flammy is currently checking his top side and trying to vertical jungle. This is going to be pretty brutal.
Timing. Doesn't manage to get it, but Bash now on the chase. Going to be able to get the stun. The lightning just catches them out. The slowest there. One more auto not going to land. And Flammy will be able to get away. Bash once again on the aggression, Temporal.
Flash for flash does mean Bash won't be able to pull off any sort of super extended dives, but well worth it to get this Viego out of sorts, out of position, and out of jungle camps.
Bash now making their way back down, and this is the game plan for both games, right? They've just been aggressive, they've just invaded Flammy, and they forced them to be one step behind every single time. We'll see how far they push it this time around, though, because obviously they were like 2 levels up early on in the game last matchup. As we now see a little bit of play from Rusa to try and hold the jungle slightly for the jungle, or at least take a little bit of gold back.
Yeah, just not giving it all to Bash for free. He will be able to pick up crabs and has a quadrant of his own left. So we'll be able to accelerate quite quickly towards level 5, level 6, and be present at Grubs, I believe, on time. As 1 minute and 10 to do a quadrant and base, so that should line up quite nicely. Does mean there will be no sort of organized dive or set piece around this bot lane, which I think does slightly miss the strength of Mikkel and Shiro, but up against the Smolder, the Callista sort of has an extra thing, where at all times in the game, even after he's got his little Elder Dragon execute, she can just run at him, and in the 1 versus 1 will succeed.
Talking about run at them, Namek's in trouble, going to be taking a lot of spears. Rend not available. And almost taking out Namex, but in the top side of Gank, it's going to come through, and Fat Shield going down. First blood to Turtle. Not the expectation for me.
The true counter to a ranged top lane, and especially to Twisted Fate, is that he is still balanced to be a squishy mid laner. That shield goes down, all summoners gone, no teleport, because on the Twisted Fate, you tend to lean in with the Ghost for lane domination over your opponent. And now, will pay the price, has a CS lead to fall back on, and now Swifties to be even more of a pain, hiding in and out of attack range, out of charge range, but that is a reasonable win for Ruza in the top side.
Can they transition that into more? Can we potentially get a bit of a split grubs this time round? Obviously, Dragon has spawned up, and we do see Bash on that bot side, so maybe going to look for that one early on. And so their bot lane also threatening very heavily, right? Namex already having to burn both summoners.
I think Ascria's Bloom caught Bash there, and now he's just not sure what to do. Does want to play around the 2v2 in bot.
They are going to be able to pull back. Reason does have flash, but gets stunned up, able to jump over the wall though, and will be able to leave. But no summoners now in the bot side, and Flammy is lurking around here, so maybe Ruza could turn this back into their favor. But in the mid lane, Ericsson and Evox scrapping it out. However, Ericsson level 6 going to get the better of this trade.
I think we called this a classic, but we didn't really go over the matchup. It hasn't appeared in pro for a long time. There's like Faker used to prefer the LeBlanc into the Ahri. They feel it's a little more flexible. Ahri, not the most proficient assassin without an assassin in the 2v2, but has a pretty decent matchup into most mages that want to commit a few times, want to poke a little, and then all in. Just her all in with 2 chains is just strong.
Yeah, alling in the bot side is going to happen. They're trying to get onto the ADC, but not going to be able to find it, and that could have been a hook to seal the doom of Ruza, but not going to be able to land from Sharo. And again, we'll go back to neutrality.
Yeah, just fall away. And I think Turtle's having a pretty good time at the top side. I think in 2 difficult matchups has kept the CS count up for now. That's a pretty important deal. We'll have to see whether the Poppy can get out and about on the map. That was a difficulty for the Renekton last time. I think Bash probably ruining that his top side has been up for over a minute now. Will get the objective, but both junglers sacrificed efficient pathing to be there at that bot side fight, so everything going to be a little delayed now.
Yeah, and I think that in a way works out a little bit better for Ruza, right? Especially given how far ahead Bash was on the early stage of the game. But what's the kind of curve of the power from both teams here, Temporal, right? Are we looking at a lot of mid-game hype? Because obviously we have things like the Ahri, Twisted Fate, or is it maybe a little bit later?
We'll start to see the gas pedal come down and start to get a bit faster as soon as Destiny comes out, as soon as Ericsson is able to make moves. Again, this is Garden Gaming focus. They have more tools in the mid-game. For Flammy and Evox to do a similar thing, they have to both arrive at the same position. Destiny is just such a great cheat tool to arrive where you need to. Gyro baiting here on the bottom side. Bash is here, but can't get over that minion wave.
Just weighing it out there. I was surprised that they didn't just keep the recall. Obviously, the
oh,
wave.
just stay. He can just stay here. It is difficult because when you want to be fighting all the time, especially with the Callista, you need all your items all the time. Boots here, increasing her dash distance. It's a big deal, but I feel like there was a greedy moment there that they could have taken to really try and keep Ruza's AD carry, the Smolder. Namex, who has been so strong in so many of their victories, off of a minion wave.
Flammy now going to be able to pick up at least 1 void drop to make it a little bit harder for the side of Garden Gaming to secure themselves a useful buff from those grubs. 1 more and they will be taking away any sort of spawning power, as Ericsson still having a bit of a lead in this lane. I like the LeBlanc is just keeping the push, keeping the pressure on this Ahri, just forcing him to stay in lane, because as you said, when Destiny comes up, the roams can really come through, and Bash still trying to make things happen, but just not finding any success just yet. I do wonder, maybe they just need some objectives to fight.
Yeah. Ruza pushed out of the river here. Garden Gaming move first on this one. And this is a great barometer check, I feel, for the LeBlanc. This is kind of how LeBlanc was played many, many years ago. You know, you have this threat of chains coming through, of an actual assassin out of mid lane who can still push the wave, has multiple diving sets to pair up with. There is no static Shiv do-it-yourself build here. This is just AP sort of threat and domination from the mid lane. When that comes through, we do have to look at the Volibear, the Twisted Fate, the threat they can provide.
A lot of my eyes are also on this Kalista, because I feel like Kalista, obviously the notorious solo queue, wins lane, wins just the whole game because they're so dominant.
Start fighting, do not stop stopping.
Yeah, it's kind of what I'm expecting from this lane, but they've had to be quite passive in this earlier stage, and they've got to level 6 now, still not really found any leads over Namex. Yeah, a little bit of CS, but no kills. And we've talked about the Dragon once, we'll talk about it again. It scales exceptionally.
I feel while we're on dragons that sort of it did get the priority for the take, and it sort of reduced the impact on Bash of missing out on some camps on his top side respawning. With that in mind, you do have to keep your head down and go for all 4 dragons now. Bash already down on this bottom side, gonna try ganking again, will be spotted out, so this should be no play or extended. Garden Gaming have to go for this dragon now. They are trapped into this play. There will be no split. If they have their way like last game, they are not okay to wait a little bit longer. They have to go.
Okay, looking for that fast timer. We'll see if they can make it happen right now, though. Again, wave pushed in. Dragon spawning up in 120. Recall's going to come through to give them that best opportunity, but it's going to be matched by the side of Bruiser as well.
I feel every jungler in the world knows what Bash is feeling right now. He's recalled twice to move into this bottom side. Like, he is all in on this dragon. Nothing else matters. The Volibear's minimap might as well have been chopped in half. Just has to keep cycling back and being present on this objective. Keep clearing vision. He's ran into it twice now. Oh, he does see it. Good. Thought he was going to just wrap around the bush there and be in real trouble.
All cleared up, and it is still Garden Gaming that are the first to mobilize. Obviously 40 seconds on this dragon, so still a while before that one will be spawning, but it seems like Rooster have decided a different path is for them. They're going to go aggressive onto Fat Shield, looking for their kill here. Heartbreaker is there. The stun card though is good, and Fat Shield will survive, but potentially stepping a little bit far forward. Is in the mid lane though. Garden Gaming in a little bit of trouble here. We are going to see LeBlanc get away. Bash having to step in to be the hero, but they themselves now in a tough situation. Sky Splitter and also the Stormbringer going to come down. They will be able to pick up Evox, but is it enough? Can they find a second? They do kill off Grease and Shiro with a nice rotation up, and that dragon will be secured.
Bash delays the play, and in that hero fight is able to hold on and able to get Ruza out of mid lane. Such good timing from Shiro to come up along the side. It will secure the objective. They are locked into this sort of pattern. They have to get to Dragon Soul as fast as possible, and they keep it going. They've made it work.
They made it work. That is going to be 2, so Dragon is set up to come through about 23 minutes if they keep this pace, which is pretty early temporal. They've already managed to bag themselves a 2k gold lead as well, finding a few kills around the map.
Yeah, not bad. This is starting to sound real familiar, Joe. Like 12 minutes, 2,000 gold lead, objective lead. Just the same pace of play as game 1. And Flammy once again going for this top side.
This didn't happen too much in the last game, but I will say Twisted Fate much easier to deal with than Trundle. That's going to be a nice kill set up, and at least they're finding some success. But how far does it go, Temple? Right? How far does this top lane gang stretch to the rest of the map? Because they are still down everywhere else.
I feel like the Twisted Fate, something I think is very hard to address, that is a particular strength of his, is if he goes 0-5, he does exactly the same thing he does at 5-0. There's no difference on this champion whatsoever. With the static shift coming through, it can clear minion waves even further away, even safer. So while this gold injection will be great, and Flammy now has to try and push that across the map, it just doesn't do a lot to the Twisted Fate himself. And from there, you have to now look to use that gold advantage in the bot lane.
Oh, here we go. The fight is going to be started. Mum going to be called in, but the bear is so tanky. And Grease is going to go down. Flammy trying to find the kill, but not able to get it. Namex will finally pick it up, but it's just a consolation prize. 2 already dead. Mikkel able to find one of those, and they just force pressure into the bot side. Evox, though, is lurking in the shadows temporal, but I believe not going to be able to get into this fight.
Yeah, Jay, it's really rough. Bash almost survived there as well. Fat Shield having a bit of a struggle right now. Misses the double gold tap, but he's just fine. You take presence of mind and fleet footwork on this champion, never runs out of health, never runs out of mana.
Evoke, the damage just not enough.
No.
So no more spells.
That's risky.
One ult's not going to do enough.
Burning the R slightly earlier in the combo means you don't get that extra damage right at the end. Does mean you complete on it though. Ericsson forcing Evoke out of mid. This LeBlanc has been so exciting to watch as Flammy is trying again.
Yeah, Flash Shield in trouble. And this time, dead.
Right. That's the top lane moment. You can't cycle past gold card twice. That's not okay. That is peak. I was going for an auto attack reset, which is what top laners do because we want to kill the wave. You gotta hit those if you're gonna play this.
Hey. Range top laners.
It's like melee top laners and range top laners and major top laners. They ruined top lane.
They're all the same. Yeah. No, but back to this game though. Greason trying to make something happen with Evoke in this bot lane. I feel like Mikkel, we talked about it not being super far ahead, has actually managed to accrue a decent chunk of a lead now and also get quite a lot of pressure onto this tower. So bot lane is starting to roll over, which is great because we got to talk about the dragons again. 2 minutes until the mounted dragon is up. Game will be paused temporal, which gives us so much time to take stock of what's happened.
Yeah, Flammy spent so long in the top side that I feel we might be on the verge of changing his position there to maybe second top lane.
Yeah, it's I'm still, the thing that I'm thinking though is I'm still a little bit like, okay, yeah, Ruza, I'm glad that you're picking up kills. I'm glad that they're getting something on the map. They're getting control on the top side. But where's the conversion, right? Yes, Poppy's going to be strong, but Poppy's the tank. Viego, very strong, can become a bit of assassin. But the Volibear is still growing, right? It's not that they've managed to push themselves super far ahead. Bash isn't falling behind. And your LeBlanc is still very powerful. Okay, yeah, Poppy, great, can block that. Also can block Kalista. But it just feels like it's kind of that thing where you're always going to have that thorn in your side of the Twisted Fate. And are you actually building yourself enough of a lead that you're going to cancel out the issues that are around the rest of the map?
It's also the risk that, Poppy can, in sort of the anti-Kalista setup, you want to headbutt her into a wall, but honestly, headbutting anything close, throwing up the no move zone, the steadfast presence is enough to then stop the Kalista being able to play the game. You still need to kill her. Because when it comes down, that Blade of the Ruin King will start to run through your health bar. Well, it starts already, but then the hops, the kiting, the difficulty, LeBlanc's chains can stop you at long range. It's still difficult to play this as Poppy, despite being the thematic counter.
Yeah, because you have to get there, like you said, right? And I think that the way that they've set up the team is very acknowledging that, right? You have the Magnet Storm from the Rel, you have the LeBlanc, you said, but the change, you've got the Volibear who, hey, if you just try and walk past Volibear, you know what happens, So it's a sentiment of there's still a lot to play for, and we still have that potential forever split pushing Twisted Fate to talk about too. So it is that sentiment of I don't know how far this will go, but I'm glad the Rusa are being proactive. I'm just wondering if it's going to lead to more positives, because Dragon 3 is coming up in 2 minutes, right? We expect them to potentially fight for that. If not, Dragon 4, 7 minutes away, you have to send the army.
Yeah, it's do or die at that stage. I'm a little let's be critical of Garden Gaming for a moment. I feel, despite top lane being suppressed, that you maybe got to try and get a Destiny off. The rest of your top side is LeBlanc in classic AP, whoever I find and reliably stop will die fashion, and Volibear. You've got to find some more picks around this top side. And while GG have played completely towards the dragon, I feel they've missed that extra loop that they could have involved their top lane and jungler in a bit more. That would have either stabilized the map for them, got Poppy to teleport down and cause a bigger, higher stakes fight that they're still favored in, and drag more resources over. It's going well for them so far. But the reason I'm not super down on Ruza is I don't think all of the steps are being taken like they were last game. And we're playing a little more manically.
And the scaling is coming through, right? As in, we have the dragon. Smolder will always scale. It will always become a problem. The Viego is starting to become a little bit of a problem as well, as we can get back into the game to see where we left off and see if this is now actually the time the Ruza can maybe... Oh, we're not ready. Okay, we're not going to go back into game just yet.
The game thought about it. The game said no.
The game was like, oh, no. But the question is, can the Viego do enough to maybe contest this third? Do you want them to contest third, Drake, Temporal, or are you thinking, okay, give it another 5 more minutes?
They've bashed so hard on top lane as second dragon and in the in-between. A direct contest is still quite hard. I think Smolder's still not quite ready, which is a big weakness of the Rusa team composition. I think they can try and pick someone off as they push a lane because both bots and mid will try and push out. I think trying to get onto the LeBlancas to distortions on mid wave is the way to play this.
Sounds like we might be ready this time. So let's go back into game. Let's see what we can find as we go back into this one. And 2 minutes away from Drake. A lot of thoughts in our minds, a lot of questions to be answered, and hopefully that will come through soon. As Mom going to be utilized just to clear out this wave to stop Mikkel from getting a big chunk of that tower. But one more wave, and it could have been all over.
Yeah, Bash denied in his opportunity to go under that bot lane tower. We haven't seen a Volibear ult, bar the one on mid to kill Evoc off. I'm excited about these dive tools, Garden Gaming. I want to see them used.
Yeah, the storm has not been brung yet, but it might be used soon because they are able to clear a lot of pressure and a lot of space around this bot side. They should be able to take this tower, and I believe that will be first brick, which leads them nicely with a bit of gold before this Drake, which will be going up in 1 minute. Mid also a potential dive, as there is a very, very low tower there. And Ericsson's still putting a lot of pressure onto Evoc. Chain's going to land. Root will be there. A nice bit of damage back from the RE, but all in all, still Ericsson in control.
Absolutely. Ericsson's still dominating this mid lane. Evoc's got to feel slightly good about that one. That's the first one we've seen where the charm that you're meant to throw just to the side of the distortion in to try and account for a bit of footwork was matched. With the TP in here, we'll be able to play into this dragon. Ericsson running out of time for a base before the dragon now should get out of here on this wave. That also gets rid of that opportunity, as I mentioned, where Rusa probably really want to kill the LeBlanc here. They really want to cause some damage, and instead Garden Gaming have showed up in force.
They've shown up in force indeed, and now actually Rusa, I'm very surprised how they're positioning here. They are starting to step towards that dragon, but they do need to be careful of the pincer from that LeBlanc behind. Yes, it is a 4 versus 5, but the Twisted Fate could potentially make their way down. Does have the Destiny, but actually it looks like they might even just stay top, and I'm now really confused, Temporal, because the Garden Gaming giving this up.
I would hope not. They are moving in. They're going to use the Scry's Bloom. Let's see. Shiro should be the first to go.
Shiro hesitating, and that dragon is going low. They're going to give over the dragon, which is not what we expected to happen. Mid tower should fall down for this, but a delay of soul point has been accrued, and Mum going to be utilized to clear the wave. But no further fighting, although Shiro actually going to go in, goes aggressive, will be able to get the stun, and Flammy almost immediately taken down, flashes out of safety, and Teresa trying to walk this one out. Stormbringer, here's the tower turned off, the bear will start to walk as Evoc stunned up once again. Shiro jumping in as well. The CC chain is unreal, and Rusa lose multiple members.
I feel like Garden Gaming maybe said, oh, they can't get away with this, but we've let them in. They'll give them the objective. They'll allow a Mountain Dragon over. But on the exit play, take 3 members of Rusa with them and absolutely balloon their gold advantage relative to last game. 5,500 now, plus the Rift Herald, well worth it for delaying a dragon, despite it being the original objective. Garden Gaming now can use that momentum to stay ahead, despite the risk of Evoc and Namek scaling a little bit further.
Yeah, it was a question mark in our head, but as you said, 2 towers, it's well worth, and they get a handful of kills too. Now the question is, where do we go from here? Because tier 2's much, much more dangerous to push than tier 1's. Obviously, the Twisted Fate has been getting caught out a few times now. But the stack
we are doing Fat Shield so dirty.
Yeah, but hey, it's you're getting kicked out. You know what I mean? Like it's Twisted Fate, you're not very mobile.
I feel like,
but at the same time, Mikkel and Shiro have been causing maybe issues, right? And Ericsson is very, very good at getting away. So, are we looking at a 1-3-1 setup here?
Absolutely. I think with the Twisted Fate, the wave clear is so easy and sort of so available Destiny, more than halfway back up. It's one of the longest cooldowns in the game. I think just under 3 minutes on its second level. And with it already, on gaming, just looking for 3v3s, looking to scrap, looking to get into this mid lane. With this vision rotation they'll put down, they're behind the tier 1s now. They should have first information on when Wuza move and be able to use that to avoid Namex's sort of big team fight outcome that they might be looking for. The 5v5 that Ruza tried to invite a dragon, a sign that they know they can go towards that.
Is there even a potential sneak for Baron? See Volibear and Kalista feels like quite good at doing
pretty
it.
good. It's pretty fast. Volibear not going down, you know, compared to old seasons. There is no longer the buff that you just take no damage from Baron when you've got 2 people around you. I don't know if it's been in your solo, QJ, but an issue for me is like sometimes junglers just run at the thing and then they're surprised when they die. So none of that going on today. Yeah, it's a reasonable threat. And then with Destiny as well, it's so hard to walk towards an objective. Getting a flank from now on should be really difficult. Flammy in that last fight around mid had to fall away through his own raptors just because he wasn't able to get through the mist.
In fact, Shield still causing some problems, but Turtle much tankier now, able just to survive a lot of this damage, able to just keep themselves very strong and healthy, and pushing this tower, which does question how successful this Twisted Fate can be in the later stages. But again, as you said, still going to be doing Twisted Fate things, still going to be a nemesis and a thorn in the side, as the rest of the team are starting to set up for that Baron. They're starting to get a little bit of vision around it and deny some from Ruza. As have we actually started it? They might have even
they're on.
Yeah, let's go.
Twisted Fate definitely going to need a Blade of the Rune King, I feel, if his job is to stay in the sides. Garden Gaming will see this coming. Whether they're going to pop the Destiny or not, Ruza have arrived.
They
That's embarrassing.
popped it, and Fatshield has also died. But
Oh,
here we
the
go.
TP!
TP coming in, 4,000 left on the Baron, and the fight
They've got
has
it.
ensued. Ruza forced away Garden Gaming, and this could actually be their chance. This could be the moment that we see the game flip on its head, because they're going in. There's the chance for the steal. It's stolen. It's taken by Ruza. They take the fight as well, because they started to whittle down members. 2 kills plus a Baron plus the Twisted Fate. It all adds up to one big gold swing.
Turtle makes moves across the map for solo kill into immediate teleport to join his teammates in the top side. And with Garden Gaming getting ejected from the Baron pit, removed from the Purple Garden, Stormbringer too early with the smite before Bash dies. Too much to overcome. Ruza have bought themselves so much time. This is the risk of not taking every dragon, not pushing every advantage with Garden Gaming's team composition. They have now bought so much time for Namex to get even stronger. Will be completing those stacks soon. Evok, fortunately, quite outside.
Yeah, rooted up. This should be an easy kill. Easily given over to Mikkel as well. Dragon now spawning, but Ruza might be looking to try and get a pick of their own. They're swarming into the bot side. However, tower is still there. Will still be able to keep them alive and safe. And it does mean that GG will have priority over this Dragon, but can they secure it? Because now there has to be a bit of confidence coming in from Ruza.
Took that last fight. Their approach in the Ahri is missing, so I don't mind them completely skipping this. Mom has a go, just a bit of a go.
Yeah, and you can't blame them for having a little bit. What the hell?
Oh, it's Fatshield. He's here.
What? What? What?
I don't know how we got there. In any case, the Rift Herald will be joining Twisted Fate in the spot lane for even more pushing power. With Kirch's Shard coming through, going for a build later on that I feel helps the team more than the side lane. This means when you Destiny and when you get that gold card for free, we'll be able to just make it sting a little bit harder.
And right now, Bash there, just clearing up that jungle. You've got to be a little bit sad if you're Garden Gaming for losing that Baron. However, they are still 3k in the lead. They are still having a lot of pushing power, and they are still pushing Ruza into a sentiment where they're playing on the back foot, right? Ruza are never the ones being like, okay, this is our time, that we're going to dictate this, we're going to force you in, we're going to take these towers. They still have only taken 1 outer tower, which may turn into 2 with that mid lane being pressured. But Garden Gaming still have quite a bit of time. However, Temporal, I am a little bit worried because they are the early game team and they need to keep themselves afloat. A couple more big mistakes like the Baron, they could be GG.
Yeah, without a traditional top laner as well, a real vulnerability of the Twisted Fate is that if your gold cards aren't providing the front line and space for your teammates, you don't have a health bar to do it with this build. And eventually, Bruiser should be able to overwhelm. We're going to see Viego come to 3-4 items and be a massive threat. Likewise, Evoc and Namex will just start dealing so much damage. Eventually, Garden Gaming's team composition will have to find someone responsible to play in that front line. It's going to be more difficult as time goes on.
And I would say, hey, you could just throw Bash there, but obviously they're going AD as well, so a little bit squishy. In fact, being chased out of this jungle may just about get there.
No!
One Autumn will take it. Evoc finishing up the kill, Orb of Deception for the win, and now Ruza just sending it straight forward. Magnus still going to be able to get straight onto Shiro, however, Mikkel not caught out at all, and then Nautilus very tanky will be able to walk away.
I think it was the Orb and the last auto attack was what Evoc had to put down. Fat Shield was so close to getting away with that play. Something that Twisted Fate is good at, drawing multiple people to the side. Garden Gaming keep having so much space on the map, but they need to try and make a play when 3 people are chasing their top laner and try and cross map, get something back. It's something Ruza have been good at so far this series, but we haven't had to see Garden Gaming try it. They seem a little off kilter. Feel like if last game was sort of this balanced play and then the Smolder way didn't matter, this game I think the Smolder can come to fruition. There is more setup in front of it. There are different threats, a different alignment. I feel like Ruza will be happy with only a 3,000 gold deficit at this stage.
No, I do agree. It feels like they're in a much more secure position. 2 minutes in will be the next dragon, and obviously this is Mountain Soul. This would be a very hefty swing back for Garden Gaming if they can secure it. However, if there isn't enough from Ruza, the likelihood of Garden Gaming winning does start to whittle lower and lower. And I am starting to think about this Viego now, right? Flammy has managed to get a lot of picks, has managed to get a lot of gold, building themselves up, as you said, almost onto 3 items now as well. They're a bit of a scary prospect.
Yeah, and that Sterex comes through. I do believe that is Sterex that will be made out of the Tuddler on 3, and oh, Fat Shield. You gotta be so careful leading with a pick a card into a wave against a Poppy when she's on edge of range. It's the standard sort of setup, but in this matchup, as soon as anyone has a gap closer towards you, you have to be so careful tagging anything else.
And also, Mikkel is starting to get quite strong, and actually, so is Fat Shield. Maybe quite a bit behind Turtle, but starting to cause a bit of problems. But TP going to be utilized to scare away Garden Gaming. And now Bash actually might be in big trouble here. Stormbringer going to be utilized to get themselves away, but that's not what you want to do. Mikkel now having to fight for their life. Greason jumping straight onto the Callista, but can they get onto the backline? Right now being held up at the front. They will take down Shiro, and they managed to get a charm onto Mikkel, so forcing GG back once again. And Greason isn't done just yet. Stepping forward again, causing major problems for the backline of Garden Gaming. And Ruza, they're not done here. They want more. They want them under tower. Bash stays alive, but the Heartbreaker is going to be utilized. Flammy, however, goes down immediately. Turn around from the LeBlanc. Still 3 members alive. 2 now. GG in a tough situation, but may be able to hold out for a little bit longer. However, the Dragon surely not going to be theirs. Turtle once again diving in. Namex now flapping the wings. It will be another kill onto the Twisted Fate. And Ruza are starting to cause major issues, Temporal.
They have scaled, they have waited out the time. I think it was fair of us to call out that one dragon going over to Ruza early on, and what an amazing comeback it has allowed them to enjoy. Namex once again getting stacks in the time where his opponent would have got Dragon Soul, but now with further delay of Ruza by more time, and despite pretty decent setup for Garden Gaming, despite Ericsson teleporting back in with functionally a second health bar and second ultimate, was not enough for Garden Gaming to play through the fight. We are missing a Runans on a Callista that in a front to back like that would have allowed her to absolutely shred multiple people to pieces. And currently, Garden Gaming do not have the AoE damage outside of Ericsson going in, distorting with his face. The risk that cost him there, force the teleport out, play through a fight. They don't have enough, and as time goes on, Ruza get more and more damage.
And it's exactly what we said, right? The Baron being a massive problem. Now the gold lead is even, and Ruza, the ones in the pilot seat. The AoE in that fight, it looked good. There was a moment where they were in a choke point and Mikkel was free hitting, but wasn't doing enough damage, wasn't spreading out the damage across multiple members. As you said, no Runans. And that is going to be a purchase that is needed to be on a speedy recovery. But to be honest, Garden Gaming bring this one back into control. It feels like they're going to have to out-macro the side of Ruza rather than just out-teamfight.
Yeah, it's going to have to be more and more. Each loss with a team that wanted to get all 4 dragons and push through real fast says, now you have to be more creative. Now you have to think about this and really create an opportunity because your composition won't give you any on its own. If I am going to be critical of an item for Mikkel, the Terminus here allows like a really flat damage profile. If someone tries to 1v1 you, it's really hard to get through a champion with Terminus and a bit of lifesteal because your EHP goes through the roof while reducing your opponents with that armor and magic penetration. But it doesn't allow you to play through a team fight. Where that setup that is in your composition.
Team fight. It looks like Ruza have found one, and here is the dragon doing big damage. However, Bash and the LeBlanc have absolutely eviscerated them, and now this time it's actually turning around. They've managed to get the picks they needed, and Ruza are falling. Garden Gaming with the absolute hero plays, pick up a kill, a fight, and now a Baron.
They take the opportunity. No hesitation from Garden Gaming. Evok was not at that fight. No teleport available for the RE. And with a numbers disadvantage, a snap decision, Garden Gaming are in on the Baron and have a power play that contains their Dragon Soul.
Ooh, just when I thought it was done. That's why you don't count your chickens before they hatch. A big misplay from Ruta hands the game back into the hand of Garden Gaming. They could potentially get this soul. They could potentially push down these towers. 2 minutes time will tell, but they now have 2.5 worth of Baron buff to push and get some extra gold.
Yeah, we'll have that all-important Dragon Soul available to them. It's delayed. It won't be worth as much. We've sort of had a slide as this game has gone on from the power of Garden Gaming's early composition to Ruza finding meaningful fights. We're back in a balance now. We're back in the middle with Garden Gaming on a power play where they need it. Ruza, however, stronger than they should have been when this composition was put together. With that in mind, it's not all over yet. But Garden Gaming, once again, should be looking for another pick. Another numbers disadvantage. They have the Destiny. They have so much damage out of Ericsson. 4 items with, I think, only 500 more gold. I guess will complete the Magi Soul Stealer. That will be the time where Garden Gaming have to accelerate. They'll have so much to do it with, or it'll all be Ruza catching it.
But members are starting to assemble in the bot side, and you don't want to be too overconfident if you're Garden Gaming, right? You still have to play a pretty clean fight. Ericsson taking out Namek seems to be the key to victory, but obviously that gets increasingly more and more difficult the closer the team fights get. But Ericsson, with the split push, should be able to put a bit of pressure here. So will Fat Shield, so they are starting to pull apart the plays of Ruza. But Ruza are looking for that one overstep, that one moment where they can get a pick.
And 3 lanes instead of 2. Ruza have to try and find a fight there quite early down to this objective. 45 seconds still on the clock. With that, Garden Gaming do get more of a meaningful advantage, but the fight able to be started.
Reason able to get in, but there, once again, Fate's Call able to just bring them back, and 2 towers have been picked up by the side of Garden Gaming. They've got an influx of gold here and now, even looking to push a bit of pressure onto the tier 3. Will just keep Evok very much away from the rest of the team as Ruza, they are desperate for this fight. They're looking for it so hungrily. They've given up 2 tier 2s temporal for it, but they've not found anything.
It's a big swing. They haven't got any summoners out, any sort of meaningful. They did get the Destiny, I think, on the panic engage, which then allowed Fat Shield to move between lanes.
Oh, talking about Fat Shield almost getting picked up.
Almost. Not bad. Namex has started this one off. Ruza in position, and Fat Shield once again not available. It's going to try, I guess they're going to try and trade. Garden Gaming just going to have to go for towers.
Sorry, the 3rd tier 2, and they might even be able to get some tier 3s actually. They're forcing the TPs out, but on the top side it looks like Fat Shield is quite content pushing this one. We'll be able to get it to half HP, so a couple of tier 3s now starting to whittle down their health bar, but a dragon secured by Ruza stops the soul point and once again delays Garner Gaming from potential win cons. But Temporal, I feel like they're now just looking to go for that next Baron, to get these extra split pushes, to find a pick to open up the game.
Yeah, I feel like the value of the Dragon Soul itself is we get a double point. The next one will be followed by an Elder Dragon. It's sort of faded away from what Garden Gaming needed. They're now sort of scrapping, doing tip for tat. It's like, oh, well, we wanted the dragon, you've gone for the dragon, you've played this 2-lane style instead of 3. Now we'll just take more of your base, and we're going to try and shave a bit off each time until the game is over. It's a good way to play with the Twisted Fate. I think it's just... It's not quite the best use of the tools. They're still playing very far away and always 3-lane. If they had the teleport and the Twisted Fate, this is really good. But with the Ghost, with that lane domination, you do have to try and use it across the map.
Well, Hevo taking a big chunk there. Medjai's 10 stacks for the side of Ericsson. I gotta say as well, Mikkel's still not picking up the Runans there. Gone for the Witten instead.
Single target damage instead. Bash. Stormbreakering away from Flammy. Decent respect there. 3 items through on the Viego. Is it threat all to his lonesome?
Tier 2 picked up by Ruza there. So starting to really show the power of their comp of dynamics now. Quite powerful there. 4 items on a Smolder is definitely nothing to laugh at. Also does have the quick silver sash there, just able to get rid of any CC that does come their way, which is going to be the major plan for Garden Gaming.
Yeah, no gold card here in this Dragon's Lair, please.
Yeah. And how are you stacking up these teams, right? Because obviously we've seen 2 fights now go completely different ways. A little bit later down the line, we talked about the scaling. Is it still even Stevens? Is it still anyone's game?
I feel the longer we go, the less GG have the ability to play through a 5 versus 5 fight. Their only AoE damage is Ericsson, and it is huge, but it requires him going melee into Turtle. And it's so much easier to get that steadfast presence up defensively rather than offensively, and will allow Flammy resets, will allow Namex time to play the front to back. Ruza fishing for the fights.
We might get a bit GG's are going to come in, but it's a 5 versus 4 for the moment. Mum going to be able to burn through a lot of the team. We are looking at Turtle on this backline. They're able to stop Mikkel as Ericsson trying to dive in for Namex, but not going to be able to find them. And on the rest of this fight, we see Mikkel still alive, but it is going to be GG that are starting to burn. Namex now very low, will finally fall down, and do they get the damage to finish it off? Garden Gaming fighting for their life. Evoke the big target. Can they pick up the kill? They can't kill the Origins yet. They do finally find it, and Garden Gaming, they play the long game. They win the team fight, and they might be able to take it all the way to the base. Fat Shield with the gold card. The damage comes through, and that is an ace for Garden Gaming.
A triple kill for Fat Shield's Twisted Fate. A late Destiny into the backline, picked off an injured Flammy, and allowed Namex to fall. Excellent presence of mind from the top laner for Garden Gaming. His KDA isn't clean, but he's all that mattered in that last fight, as the rest of the Garden Gaming overgrow Ruze and go to 2-0 in this series.
And I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I was not expecting today to be a 2-0 Garden Gaming start. Now we're asking for the reverse sweep from Ruza, which is the situation that they were in against Rich Gang. They had got Rich Gang against the ropes. Now they are the ones in the reverse corner. Can they be like Tyson Fury and stand up after another knockout? Can they make it in the 3rd game? Because Temporal, there are so many questions to have on my mind. Talk me through how they can bring this back into their favor.
I feel like Ruza are sort of like they stick a game plan. They kind of get there, and they haven't sort of set up. They haven't called in that last fight that TF is Hay in the back line. I don't know how that gets away. I don't know if they feel the need to like play through the fight and expose difficult conditions, but the Poppy wasn't enough there. They didn't stop the LeBlanc coming through, and they didn't stop the Twisted Fate. They have all these big threats, and they haven't got the priority order or the communication in who's coming towards them, who's the threat, who are we turning around onto, and it's sort of exploding and falling apart under the pressure.
Well, a lot to think about in a short break. They're coming back for game 3. We're going to take a little bit of a break, get some drinks, get some snacks, and be right back, because this could be going all the way if Ruza can turn it around. And we are back 2-0 to the side of Garden Gaming versus Ruza. If you've just tuned in, and it's been a bit of a rocky road, I'll say. Like game 1, very clean from Garden Gaming. Game 2 looked a little bit more
started to
like
slip.
a pendulum.
Yeah, started to slip slightly.
Yeah,
I think it's fair to say Ruza sort of got one foot back on the foothold, and then in about 10 minutes fell back off the ladder.
Yeah.
Bit of a difficult setup. They seem very attached to the Smolder line where they pick an aggressive jungler. They want a big scrap. They want to buy as much time in front of the Smolder who scaled as possible. Garden Gaming have attacked the Smolder scaling by playing faster on the map. And then when that didn't work out in game 2, overwhelmed by playing 3 lanes instead of 2. It took them a long time to get through that with the Twisted Fate. They didn't seem most comfortable on the pick, but it was enough to get them over the line. And they used not necessarily its strengths, but its biggest resilience, in that if you send more than one person to deal with Twisted Fate, you're already winning out everywhere, and he doesn't need to teleport. And then if one for one goes even, no one can ever teleport away from him with a gold card.
Yeah, it's in a way tough, because I think Ruza were getting there, they were making it happen, but then one good team fight from Garden Gaming was all it took to really kind of win themselves back the game. And I think that this is kind of the sentiment of the whole series, the fact that Garden Gaming, we said it from map 1, they need to just play good early, get themselves a lead, and then take the game all the way home. They've done that twice now. Yes, a few stumbles in game 2, but going into game 3, Temporal, what's the game plan shift that Ruza need, right? They've swapped sides, they've gone to red side, but is there more than that? Do they need to kind of pick early themselves, or do they need to just kind of find a way to stabilize?
I want to abandon the Smolder. They've played multiple bot lanes throughout the split. They do not need to keep jamming this just because it was good on this patch. I like the Karma ban from them. On red side, they now need to be mindful of blue one. I'd probably try and let everything else go through. Try and get Senna Volibear yourself. I think Namex and Greason have shown great presence on that. The farming Senna, I think, is still in on this patch. It is. And therefore you can use a different style. It's been proven to you now, in game 2 you said it wasn't the issue. We're doing this again in a slightly different shape. We now need to see flexibility from Ruza on the other side. They're going to ban the Smolder themselves, so no blue one for Garden Gaming. They will have to change the game plan.
Which means they've left open the Olaf. They've also left open... Who do they normally ban? They've been banning. I completely forgot. But they've left over 2 picks that they would normally ban away. So that's all you need to know. Volibear, going to go in blue one. It was strong in game 2. It's strong in general. Pick it up.
Yeah, I think from the game 2 draft, it's only the Smolder introduced. Will be the Senna here. Fantastic. Instantly locked in. So it can be paired with. You're into dive. The Nautilus is fine. Could have kept that a little bit later and gone for a priority jungler for yourself. Now, I think Ruza, if they are going to be evading the 5-ban jungle special once more, you got to lock in a jungle.
Yeah, indeed. Well, they got another pick. They got a bit of time, but they've obviously chosen to go for their bot lane once again. Nautilus seeming to be Greason's just comfort pick, I think. Or sorry, Nautilus just being a pick that has been taken by Shiro so much that it does feel like it's a good takeaway. Rom, though, very good into this pick, and Jinx going to add up for the late game.
Jinx has got very few losing matchups on the patch. She just comes online a little bit faster than your Smolders and friends, and has that long range. That was a very fast Kindred lock-in. We did see that banned away in game 1, not so much in game 2, with the Senna sort of being maybe somewhat suppressed, if this is going to be fasting Senna, on gaining items herself. I like the Kindred. You've now got 2 points of damage, but you need the front line, you need the setup. Ericsson was a menace last game on that LeBlanc, so Ruza going full recency, full shift. They want to be in a different game, not only on the map, but in their head.
And also, I am surprised, like, Varus was still up as well, right? That was actually, I think, one of the bans that was not taken away. Didn't get picked up by Mikkel, right? Chose to go for the Jinx instead. Way taken away, though, from the side of Garden Gaming. I like it. I think it's very strong. I think the Evoke looked really good on it, even though they didn't get to play out too many of those fights, as we are seeming to go down the path of banning out mid laners now.
Oriana, a bit of a strange band. So that's just dive buddy central. That is defensive towards this Senna, who is vulnerable to the dive. But long range picks taken away from Garden Gaming. I'm not sure where exactly we're going to end up here. A Xerath ban here would have been telling of the Oriana pick itself, but that's already gone. I'm not sure where these mids are going to end up because the sort of...
Is Syndra still good on the patch? I feel like that's always a notorious...
With Azir gone, I guess? Like with Azir gone, Nico already banned. We're in this weird setup where you're not trying to achieve the same thing anymore, so therefore priority really starts to shift. Syndra would be good on red side predominantly here. You want the knockback, you want to buy Senna and Kindred more space. Popping people out of Lamb's Respite is really good. It's not bad for Garden Gaming.
Ooh.
That's a flashback. All right, Victor has had a really bad split. He is not as strong as many of the mages. Azir has kept him well and truly down in his role of clear the wave and contribute to the team fight. I think we're going to see maybe something a little more assassin-oriented from Garden Gaming.
Hey, Death Ray is Death Ray, you know? Like, you drop the Chaos Storm, it can do a lot of damage. The Ari, though, going to be picked up, locked in very, very fast there from Ericsson. So sticking to that kind of pushing lane, able to roam around, giving a lot of potential on the assassination, potentially. The picks like that Senna or the Kindred. So I like it a lot. I think that Ericsson has just been very, very under maybe talked about in some of these games. And we're going to see Fat Shield potentially go for the Aatrox, which is a massive pick, by the way, that we have seen hit from him. And I believe has been played quite a lot in the season to major fruition.
Yeah, this is his main comfort. This is the sort of chaos that Garden Gaming want to invite in over the top of this fight. I think point to Bruiser for the second half of this draft depends what they agree on here. Gwen's not as safe as she would appear. Will be locked in. Turtle also more familiar on this pick than we've seen on picks throughout the series. So both top laners on a bit more comfort now. Garden Gaming want to be diving forwards and come over the top of this Volibear. They're going to send the Braum in as well. Try and get a reset either onto Fat Shield or Mikkel. And that should be enough to push them through the fight. That dive will be suppressed by Gwen's ability to be immune, by the gravity well, and by Namex being able to front back over the top of it. Both teams much stronger in their identities than we've seen throughout this series so far. I think Ruza might have found the groove they were looking for.
Yeah, it's
hard to say. But
it's tough.
Just looking at these drafts, I think this is the tone shift I wanted.
It's tough only for me because I feel like we've seen a very consistent play come out from Garden Gaming. From Ruza, again, they've also been hitting the same notes in the first two games, but they've not necessarily been able to develop a tune. I think in this one, they've gone for quite a different set of champions with a different identity of the sense of, we're going to go to the late game, we're going to be very strong. But it still doesn't solve the problem of what happens when Garden Gaming play well in the early game and put you behind. Because if I'm looking at the lanes, I don't really see anyone that is going to hard win lane, in which case it leaves them open to potentially getting snowballed on.
Yeah, Gwen in the 1 versus 1, once your Oblivion Orbs come through, like level 11 is also quite nice. Her second point and ult does a reasonable amount more than Aatrox's does. And it lets you win the 1v1 because it's less conditional. It's like, oh, you could hit a sweet spot and heal, or I could donate 500 magic damage to your face while you're trying to come towards me. It makes it very straightforward and simple. That said, if the Aatrox doesn't have to worry about those conditions because he's ahead, it won't happen. It's difficult, especially with how we've seen top laners being suppressed in this series. Once one way and then the other.
Yeah, and I do wonder how it's going to play again. Like, I'm thinking about the path thing. Obviously, Volibear, I'm expecting to get on the map a little bit more than Kindred does. Obviously, Kindred can be notoriously very good in the early game. I'm talking about game. Let's set it into game 3. Just in case you guys are unaware at home, this is the potential final game. If Garden Gaming win this, Ruza are out.
From sending the first seed to game 5. To being eliminated 3 of themselves. Ruza under immense pressure here as we go into game 3. Garden Gaming, 2 victories, 1 swift, 1 a little bit more measured. Ruza to come online. They're going to send us to a potential 6-hour special. Would be the story of a fantastic Friday night.
Indeed. What else would you want, on a Friday
Yeah,
night?
where else are you gonna be?
League of Legends, NLC Div 2, on Twitch. What more would you want? Maybe even get a takeaway for yourself.
I know what I'm doing after this game. Sponsor us, please. I don't know. I'm sure the NLC is doing fine for sponsors. I'm not internal. Right. Measured early game. No more invades. That was game 1. No more deep expeditions of vision. That was game 2. All on the cards right now. I wouldn't mind a late ward from either side over the chickens. Ericsson just out of range. Greason gonna try his luck anyway. Little moves, tiny moves from each side.
And look, I gotta say this, right? Although we've talked about the late game scaling of things like the Victor, the Senna, the Gwen, right? You got a Jinx on the enemy team. Like, that is not to be messed with, right? Everyone knows how dangerous Jinx can be. And if Nickel starts to pick up a bit of a lead, like, yeah, we talked about the Kalista being a little bit dominant. Jinx can just run away with the game. We're already starting to see it there. The rockets are flying in and Namix is taking quite a bit of poke damage.
Yeah, we'll be somewhat equalized by the fleet footwork, but you're right, the risk of just taking 3 rockets without the ability to return, especially as the Jinx gets more points in her queue, it just becomes riskier and riskier. That's the sort of short trade, but then Namix, the splash damage on an extra queue, that's a little bit here, but if that's 50 damage a wave in 2 minutes, they're in real trouble.
Yeah, Piercing Darkness could potentially be the savior. Also, Ericsson has to watch out because Evoc was trading very heavily onto the RE. So the first time we've seen the Evoc really controlling the lane away from Ericsson. And we'll see if they can keep that one up. As in the top side, Fat Shield Turtle has been a very turbulent relationship between them two in the lane. One winning, absolutely dominating the other in the second. As the junglers this time are still pathing the same way, but not bot. They're both going top.
Slow crawl towards the top side. Ericsson getting pushed away. Great work from Evoc. I normally favor Ari in these situations where the trading comes through heavy. As long as Evoc, and he has kept up on the farm, been able to tag her with some of the lasers and then use the shield to its maximum, you do end up with this much health over the Ari. And yeah, a statement after last game. I think it's fair to say mid was a bit of a advantage. There's a better word for that. Bit of a cliffhanger.
Victor obviously much more popular than before the Arcane series came out. However, still has his place.
I feel
like
he's been missing from pro for a long time. The character.
That's what I mean. Is that he was really popular before, and then Arcane came out, kind of disappeared. But Fat Shield right now might be disappearing off of the top lane, as we are going to see Flammy jumping in on the top side. A couple more autos might do it. Execution not enough, and Flammy not willing to risk it all for that potential kill.
I think that that last tower shot there to take Flammy down real low was almost coming through. Shiro will get hooked.
Reason going to be locked up there. Nice bit of trading though from the side of Rusa, and finally it feels like their lanes are just going better.
Yeah, this is a bit smoother, less forced, less rigid, I feel.
Ooh, talk about forced bash there. Making his presence known there, getting a bit of damage down as Shiro getting ignited, will be hooked back. A lot of damage coming through from Rusa, but not going to be enough to get the kill. And Shiro, cool, calm, collected, didn't even flash away.
No, knew the Unbreakable was coming up. A little slight mistime there for Rusa. If that Unbreakable did not pop up once more, was within 50-ish health of going down. Bit of a risk. It's nice to see Greason and Namix feel confident trading, feel confident pushing forward. You're right, there is a huge shift in this game.
And I hope Rusa weren't doing this for star points. I'll be honest, I hope they were just like, yeah, we can go 0-2 down and win this one back. Because it is a tough hill to climb, and they still have a lot of game to complete. And obviously, if we do look at the stats right now, everything is dead even. We're not seeing any sort of crazy invades coming out from the side of Bash that we have in the first 2 games. But Dragon priority is the big question that I have, Temple.
Yeah, much less of a topic in previous game. Shiro will get stunned in the gravity well.
Ooh, will be locked up by the Winter's Bite and almost going down. The concussive blows, just not enough. One more auto could do it. They will be able to pick up that kill. Ericsson finds first blood, and Ruza now on the hunt for a return kill. Shiro going very low. One more auto will do it, but Unbreakable comes up, and Winter's Bite will stun up the Nautilus under tower. Greason goes down. 2 kills to the Ari, and that is not what you want to see if you're Evoc.
I think we said Ruza were a little more comfortable, maybe too comfortable in the moments, from pulling members of Garden Gaming under their own tower to being stunned all the way, tower to tower. Difficult proposition there. Ruza pushing the envelope a little too hard. They've returned to this top side. Flammy is too low to fight Fat Shield at this stage. No doubt, even if Turtle gets his ult, this might be a turnaround kill in the 1-for-1.
Unfortunately for Evoc, Ericsson hasn't gone back yet. They haven't managed to spend that gold, but... Ooh,
that was rough. That was rough.
If you're a Ruza fan, you gotta be a little bit scared right now, I'll be honest.
Game 3, all on the cards, and just overstepping. Just not quite respecting the position in that mid lane that the Ari, just like Nautilus before, had done, and pull someone under there.
Another from Bash, just helping the wave get crushed. Fat Shield can then go back and spend that earned gold. Now, Evoc gonna have to start to contend with this Ari, who has already managed to get a little bit of itemage. Dragon still very much on the table, but it will be Garden Gaming that pick up the first 3 rifts with bugs, and those grubs will be setting themselves up nicely for a potential 6.
Yeah, the buff just sort of being that extra threat. There is not someone like Twisted Fate or Trundle in this game that makes great use of it being at 6, because it just allows you to wail away for so much longer. The Jinx, to a lesser degree, it gives you more damage on the tower, but it's not time under tower for the Jinx as much. When you spawn the grubs, they run in, their health bar decays quite rapidly, so they're better on melee champions, really. And then your teammates should be buying you that space and always being present around you. But still, can't argue with it. It's kind of good for champions like Jinx in the way that even if you get 4, you didn't need to spawn the grubs. You might need to fight bot lane.
Bot lane is starting to get pressured. I was surprised. I thought that Flammy was going to go for this dragon, but decided to not go for it, backed away from it, and now it's allowed for Garden Gaming to get themselves mobilized onto the bot side. Bash is here. Obviously, Ericsson, with a little bit of an advantage now, could potentially push this wave and move themselves.
Did get the sigil on the Scuttle Crab, so I don't know how many stacks we're on. 74 for Victor, so not bad. We're starting to get some upgrades through soon. And I think for the Kindred as well. Marking Bash, so looking to contest this, walking around. Evoc is out of lane and ready to fight.
First big moment in the game. Here we go. Stun straight onto Flammy. A lot of damage down onto Evoc. Immediately goes down. No Lamb Respite comes out. And Jinx now getting excited. Mickle just forcing away Ruza. And once again, another team fight doesn't go their way. Big moments make big games, make big series. And Garden Gaming are having all of them.
Even though Ruza had the front to back that their composition wants, they aren't ready yet. Flammy came in, was chunked. And you can play that risky game with the Lamb's Respite if you really want to. But when you've already just had one clutch fight and you weren't sure on mid, the nerves, the doubt, the pressure starting to rattle Ruza as they are routed from the Dragon Pit, bleed a little more gold, and Garden Gaming continue to stomp forward towards a potential 3-0, where I think it's fair to say, Jay, none of us would have expected it.
Yeah, it's not that I couldn't predict that Garden Gaming would win, but 3-0 over Ruza, not
a regular season. Regular season, you know, best of 1. They did the thing. Stylistic matchup should be equal over a series. Should be manageable. Should be something you can play into and scrap with. Not been the case.
The only saving grace is that Ericsson does have all of the kills. However, has already completed their first item, so it's a little bit of a tough situation if you're Evoc. I also feel like Ruza were a little bit on the different pages there, Tempora, because they all went in aggressively, but then Flammy just immediately running away, leaving Evoc and not even popping the Lamb's Respite. It just felt like they were kind of half committing.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we should go in, but I'm on 300 health, and I was part of a fight that went really badly a second ago. So we're gonna just chill out and we're gonna walk away, and the rest of the team not reacting. I think when you think about farming center as well, there is normally a pretty chunky ultimate over the top, especially after the first few lethality items come through. And while they're cheap, they're not completed at 10 minutes at this stage.
Another Ruza trying to find something with a bit of a roam into this mid, but their mid laner is already dead. Ewok has already gone down, and this might just be setting up for even worse situations. Greason will drag themselves underneath the tower, fortunately, because, hey, we don't want to keep feeding this RE. 4-0 now. Ericsson, the only person to get a kill in this game, but really making that presence felt.
Yeah, it's like double punishment as well. And while GG set it back down in the 2v2, yeah, we do Flammy here as well. The Ari's sort of reliance on Malignance is a bit of a debuff to the champion right now, because you need that item to sort of bridge and make the rest of your damage able to come through off the back of your ultimate. To have that and then be an item ahead of your opponent, the risky position to be in. It's only going to get better for her till 4 items for Victor. It's a long way in the future, and Ericsson will have so much space to play, just like the Blanc of last game will be a force to be reckoned with.
And with 6 grubs, that is it. All
it's
of
a
the
risk.
Gonna go to Garden Gaming. It may not be the craziest of plays, like you said in the first 2 games. However, 6 grubs is 6 grubs, and it will be something to note. 2K up again at 12 minutes. Temporal, you said it last game. We've been here before.
Yeah, this is starting to feel real familiar. Grubs even adding a little bit of push to mid lane there, just to make this reversal play as Greason comes up once again a little bit harder. I think Ruza now, a difficult question to answer. How do you play this mid game out in a way that actually, like, not only secures you like a few objectives and delay like last game, how do you turn it around and win? How do you crush Ruza underfoot enough times that their nexus will explode? If you're asking me, I'm not really sure. They have got GG have got multiple pieces that are going to be hard to take down. I think teamfight wins are going to be incremental. They're going to be step by step. Really difficult for them here.
Yeah, and I said that I had a bit of a worry about the late game scaling. Not necessarily having the strongest mid game, which is where Garden Gaming have just been absolutely dominant. And I feel like we're going there once again, Temporal. We're not necessarily getting too much out of Turtle either in this matchup. Took Ignite, still hasn't been able to really utilize it. You said level 11 might start to dawn a bit of a new time in that top side, but Dragon spawning in 38 seconds, expecting Garden Gaming to fight and secure another objective.
Yeah, it's been the sort of top side, I think, where everyone's like looking for an edge, but as time has gone on and ganks have failed and little opportunities have gone by, it's become, I will farm as aggressively as possible without giving my opponent away, and my finger is over the teleport button at all times, because the advantage will not be found here.
Dragon is going to be spawning 4 seconds, starting to clear out on the bot side, get that vision control, start to mobilize themselves. I feel like surely if you're Ruza, you just give this one up. TPs are going to be coming through from Ewok. But this,
you could really aggressively flip it though. You could really aggressively flip it. Teleports in, everyone coming to fight.
They are starting to make the play right now, though. That is going to be a big stall-up moment as Greason is trying to go in, but they're onto the Aatrox, who isn't taking too much damage, and they've already started to trade back. Now, the Jinx going to be getting excited. Mickle going to be going aggressive, and they dive forward as a team. Lamb's Respite is going to buy a bit more time, but how many members will survive? There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. That's going to be the ace. One more rocket into the back line, and it will be GG again.
2 kills in commiseration. It's not a lot. It's not enough. Gwen's R3 going slightly wide leaves Ruza in a tough situation. And while Lamb's Respite brings them time, it lines everyone up for Mickle's Super Mega Death Rocket to nail home the members of Ruza. A difficult position gets even worse. They took a risk at the Dragon. You could argue they had to. Things are starting to get a little bit out of hand. And it fires back in their face. 4,000 gold, Jariel, once again at 15 minutes. Game 2. It's looking like we're on repeat.
Next objective is Herald. It feels like it's already in the hands of Garden Gaming. If we look at Flammy quickly, I don't know how many stacks they have, but it definitely isn't 4 because they've been denied so many times. 2 on the marks, and it just isn't going well, Temporal. They are just not finding any sort of purchase in this game. And with team fight after team fight going the way of Garden Gaming, I just don't see a way back.
Yeah, the nerves really starting to show, the pressure mounting, overwhelming. Bruiser come back, even if I think even if they get a fight from this, it'll be real impressive. So right now, Garden Gaming just seem to have had their number. They seem to have had the prep, they had the technology, and they'll continue to have all of the objectives on Summoner's Rift.
There's still a lot of games left in this one. We still have a bit of time left, and it is Hextech Soul, so you never know. Things can happen.
I think lightning could strike twice.
Someone could cook up something, yeah. Well, it's definitely going to strike a lot if someone gets Soul, because that Soul is very dominant. But look at this one I'm talking about. Jinx has just got so much range, and Senna at this moment just cannot contend.
Yeah, I think Jinx has sort of risen up over the patch. And it's pretty fair. And she's even better on live at home, like with further nerfs to Smolder. This is a game in which Smolder wasn't even able to be played. But Jinx, such a great time into those champions. We're even on the Static Shiv, the new technology. Turns out this item just has a little bit more AD on it. And unless you're in combat all the time, AD does tend to get over attack speed.
Oh, they body blocked for the cannon. Get them in the emotions, Temple. You can't have this cannon. You can do damage to me, but you can't have the cannon.
No, you can deal a few hundred damage to Namex, who'll heal it off. But you're not allowed the cannon minion. It's the little victories, you know, J-Real. You gotta take what you can get.
Can't win a team fight, but we'll deny you a cannon minion. That's what I'm talking about.
Not allowed. Oh. We are on a bit of a lull state now. There are multiple members of Ruza top lane. There is nothing here. They will recall, they will fall away. There is not an opportunity to get onto Fat Shield. All they're doing is buying Turtle a little bit of time, and in the lull state of Garden Gaming wouldn't have been able to dive. They've instead set up a dragon, and they're chasing Namex there. They're going to let him go, though. He gave them this cannon minion, and they're one apiece.
Yeah, 1 minute 30 on this next Drake, and we talked about dragon stacking in the last game. I think it's even more crucial in this one because Hextech Soul is just so good on multiple of the carries here.
Yeah, I think it's like old Static Shiv on Jinx, right? You hit it once, you see everyone's health bar dip, and you're like, oh, that's quite a lot of damage, and I think I'll do that again. And from so far away with such great follow-up, it's real dangerous. And it leans into sort of the team fight that Fat Shield and Ericsson want to be in. Shiro is leading the lead here, but Ericsson to complete the flank. He can make it.
They're trying to close it down. Namex is the one that has to watch out here. Fat Shield gonna go aggressive straight onto the Kindred. No fight back potential as Namex tries to kite out, but it's a story we know the ending to. Goodbye to the Senna, and that is gonna set up for another bit of gold into the pockets of GG. Another tower by the looks of it, and potentially even another dragon.
Yeah, they didn't even... Ruza didn't even manage to teleport Turtle up with Greason taking the portal away. They were too scattered to the wind. They might just make this dragon if they're a little bit fortunate, if Evok can buy some time, if Turtle maintains this lane position. No, it is spawning in 10 seconds, and Garden Gaming might be looking to get the Gwen.
Turtle gonna have to try and play this one out, but it's auto attacks. This is what Brom does best. He gets the stun into the charm, into the orb of deception, and good night, Gwen. Turtle is gone, removed from their shell, and that should be another dragon secured for Garden Gaming. They are just dismantling this map. Temporal now 6,000 gold at not even 20 minutes.
Yeah, step by step, piece by piece. Garden Gaming pushing their advantage. Not going to go for the dragon straight away. They're going to invite Ruza to fight them there once again. They're going to get mid prio first and move away through the jungle. See if they can get anything extra as they move towards the dragon.
Question marks risen. A lot of answers have been given. And doesn't look good for Rusa, to be honest. It's a tough hill to climb, and I think that there are definitely ways to come back to it, but a lot of the ways just involve stalling the game out for another 20 minutes temporal, which I don't think GG are going to allow.
I don't think they can. I don't think there's enough objectives and pain points and wave clear abilities to stop Garden Gaming just walking it in. You know, some damage on this tier 1 tower is great, but that took 2 waves, 2 people, and a whole minute to get this objective bounty down. It's a nice little injection of gold. It's nice that it will be shared out at this stage. It's a small prize for a large investment.
Baron is on the cards. We've seen GG be quite bold around Baron before. They've just started it up. They're not going to be too precious about making sure that there isn't a chance of a fight in this game. They feel like they should basically win out all of them. And with the Aatrox going down at the bot side to match Turtle, this could be a win for Rusa. They do have the TP advantage, and maybe, just maybe, a good 5v5, or sorry, a good 5v4 could lend them a bit of assistance.
Cheeky pick could be the way. They're so far behind on vision. Turtle getting the most out of this tower. I think trying to do his best on the sides, try and open up an opportunity for a flank. Does have TP advantage, but is currently not enjoying fighting Fat Shield. That more of Malmortius really slows the Gwen down.
Yeah, and you said the L at level 11 will do more. It is doing a lot, but is it going to be enough? The shadows coming up from the center. It is going to be enough to turn this fight, and they will be able to pick up one. So some light at the end of this dark tunnel has appeared for Rusa. They've managed to at least get the 1v1 kill and postpone a little bit more pressure from the side of Garden Gaming, because they can't just go straight to that Baron.
Yeah, they do have to take a moment, take a step. The teleports will equalize at least, so Garden Gaming should be able to contest this, even if they will be arriving on a low health bar. Gwen's 1 versus 1 strength. Potentially
I don't know about this.
This is risky.
I don't know about this. The TP is going to come through, and they have actually managed to pick up Shiro. So one sacrifice has paid the price, and they have started to get a little bit back into the game. Baron now being started up again, but this time Fat Shield is alive. TP is in hand, and 9,000 still on the Baron. They are doing it pretty quickly as it's half HP now, but the looming members of GG are there. Gravity is going to hold them back as Breezen goes aggressive onto Ericsson.
Oh, bash.
Able to get a bit of damage for this. In the back line, and now Mikkel is excited, stepping forward. Can they find the fight as well? They've already got the objective, and they're looking for more. Mikkel just trying to find the opening into this fight. They're going to be able to get away, but it's not too far. Ericsson claims another kill, and Fashiel chasing down Flammy. 3 members do make it out alive from Rusa, but with what in their back pocket? Nothing temporal.
You get nothing, sir. No Baron buff, no second helpings. Garden Gaming send their jungler over the back wall, and 3,000 is a very, very low Baron buff. I said Garden Gaming could definitely arrive at a low health bar. I didn't imply that they'd send their support to his death and then go and do it 4v5 anyway. Their gold lead just lets them get into the pit, and despite a well-placed gravity well, getting multiple members of Rusa out of the back, it's an absolute rout, and Garden Gaming continue to push forwards as they look to advance in the lower bracket 2-0, and with not much between them and their next opponent.
Bash is just the anti-Rift Oprah when it comes to objectives. You don't get a Baron, you don't get the gloves, you don't get the Herald, and you for sure don't get the Baron, all denied by Garden Gaming as they storm forward once again. And it feels like that was the last straw, Temporal. I don't see a way back from here.
It was the biggest way back in. Rusa had a numbers advantage. I think to get to that play, they had to take a tight 1v1 in the bot lane. That was a big risk. They had to have Shiro walk in towards them. Maybe a little too confident in his ability to approach the Baron, in his confidence that Rusa wouldn't turn around. To get all of that set up again, just to be routed. Very difficult. Namex
Ooh,
flashed
the
upon
chase
here.
is on. The knock-up is there. The volley bear is coming. Bash over the wall. Not able to get the stun, but here comes Fashield. You thought there was one threat. There's more. There's two. There's three. There's four. They're stepping forward onto the door of the base, and Ruza fall again. No chance for Garden Gaming to lose. No stalling factor. No potential back in, and no more playoffs for Ruza.
No way out. It's Garden Gaming knock on the front door. Those extra grubs, J-Rill, you're right. The 6 buff goes pretty hard. It will expand their minion wave to run under these Nexus towers. That will be Garden Gaming pushing forwards.
One more tower, one Nexus to fall, 50 gold for them to gain, and another one on the box. 3-0, Garden Gaming to the next round of playoffs.
Congratulations, Garden Gaming. A hard-fought victory, dominating over a clearly broken Ruza, who maybe had not recovered from their Rich Gang series. How frustrating to almost be in winners bracket finals into a swift exit from playoffs. Ruza, you've had a great split. I've personally enjoyed watching you. A very entertaining team, very powerful team. And on the day, the stylistic matchup wasn't there. What a read to ban 5 junglers in game 1, 3 junglers off the bat in 2 and 3, and just say, like, no, we know we can do this. We know we can get away with this. And then to play it forwards in such fashion.
Yeah, I want to see more Ruza. I hope they come back as the same team. I've enjoyed them a lot. I thought they were going to go further. I'll be honest. I had high expectations. But at the end of the day, Garden Gaming, it's a tough league. There's a lot of good teams, and Garden Gaming stepped up on the day. They found what worked, and they made it happen. So that is going to be all from us right now. We will be getting an interview after this quick break. So make sure you stay around to hear what Garden Gaming have to say.
Lovely.
And we are back after a very dominant performance, 3-0. Ghana Gaming has sent one of their own and a highlight man in general. Ericsson is joining us for the interview. Welcome in, Ericsson. You're going to be feeling pretty good because I feel like I'll kick it off with the questions, right? You had 3 games. Game 1 and 2, I feel like you were kind of playing the second fiddle. Like you were definitely strong, definitely making an impact, but not necessarily all about you. Game 3 was your game, man. You were the star of the show. Is that how you like to play League of Legends, or do you like kind of being that team player too?
I mean, not gonna lie, I do like being the star of the team. So it's definitely my preferred style. But I mean, if I need to be a team player to win, that's what it takes, you know.
That's what it takes. Nice. We've seen 2 blasts from the past. This series. Like, did you guys have the LeBlanc in pocket all this time, or was that a snap call from you? How did that pick come to be in game 2?
I mean, there's for sure like a lot of picks that I haven't shown yet, so it's like just basically been saving it for playoffs. So yeah, it's like, I mean, it's just champs where I feel like it's not necessarily good to show them in regular season, and you just show them when they actually matter.
Saving it in the bank for playoffs, keeping it ready. You've been around in the NLC ecosystem for a few years now. I think it's fair to say, all the way back on Nordavind and Barrage, from where I know you from at least.
Yeah.
What is your temperature check on NLC 2 right now? You think the competition's getting warmer? You think it's still tough, or are we still growing sort of into a space where we used to be?
Sorry, what's the question? Like
how hard has the league been for you?
I mean, this is my second time ever being in Div 2, but I feel like this time compared to last time, I guess it's a lot better. Like last time I played was like, I think 2 years ago on Verdant, and since then I feel like it's been. I mean, every year, like I think people are just getting better in general, like at playing this game. So I think it's like only natural that the qualities are going up like individually, but I mean I feel like it's definitely like big holes and like big gaps like in certain positions. Like some players are just definitely a lot better than others, and you can for sure tell as well. But I mean overall I'm like decently happy with the level. Like I feel like I can learn something.
Nice.
Okay, looking into the future, right? You've beaten Ruza. Ruza did take Rich Gang 3-2, game 5. You're going up against either Chaos or Blue Whites, depending on who wins. Are you feeling like, A, you could go all the way, and B, is there anyone who is a little bit worrying to you?
I mean, Rich Gang was like considered, I guess, the favorites after regular split, and they almost got 3-0 by Rusa. So I think we're just gonna 3-0 everyone all the way to the finals.
No pressure, no pressure.
No, I like it. But it was a really good performance from you guys in general across the day. 3-0 speaks for itself. Obviously, game 2, a little bit shaky, but game 3 definitely made up for it and stamping your approval of you are going to win this game cleanly. Any final shout-outs before we let you go? Anyone you want to give a thanks to or anything like that?
I mean, Shiro told me to give him a shout-out, so I'll give him a shout-out. He played well. He did his job. He didn't die too much.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Shout out to my team and everyone watching, those supporting, for sure. Thanks to the fans and the family.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for coming through an interview. We're going to let you go now. Me and Temporal are going to just take us through the rest of the show. So, Temporal, as we go to just us, what are your final words on today's series?
It's an upset. It's exciting. And I think we have a pretty heavy lower bracket coming in to the rest of the playoffs. I think Blue Whites look scary. I think Chaos have surprised us before, and they might just surprise us again. And then you've still got Rich Gang, who were pushed all the way by Ruza. And we just saw Ruza absolutely dismantled. So in what shape Rich Gang are going to be while they're watching all these games, downloading as much as they can? It's going to be competitive at the top. It's going to be a tight race.
It's going to be a tough game indeed. And if you guys want to watch it, make sure you tune in. We will be back on Tuesday, so do not miss a single thing. That will be Blue Whites versus Chaos. You decided to see who takes on the game, the winner of today, which was Garden Gaming. So with that being said, obviously shout out to our production, shout out to Casual Cutie as always for putting the lights on and you can see our faces and the game. Shout out to you Temporal for being my co-caster, and then shout out to NLC Div 2. And with that being said, we are going to say goodnight. We'll see you on Tuesday.